We're good. All right, Max. I'm gonna end the call with you here. Alright, what's up, guys?
Hey yo.
Oopsies. Okay. We
Oh,
are
chat's
going.
already active.
I
Oh
know.
my god, you both getting your cases. Holy
Yeah,
moly.
that's crazy.
I'm not jealous, you're jealous. Shut up.
I mean, so I want up the case so bad, and I want to be able to open boxes.
What's up,
Hey, Josie, I
Josilo?
was just thinking about you today, dude.
Thank
I
you
was
for the
like,
resub.
I was literally like, where is this? Where is this guy? I never hear something from him. I honestly, I want to check if the case is in
Same.
limbo.
Our cases are also in limbo.
Yeah, it's
Which is
tragic.
scary.
It's really tragic.
It's like definitely giving me some PTSD to the pre-release.
For sure. So if you guys haven't already noticed, oh, let me click some stuff. Okay.
It has a shipping label, so there's progress.
So if you haven't already shipping label, all right. So you haven't already noticed, we actually started streaming on YouTube. So we have both our, you know, YouTube stream, and we will also have our Twitch stream going on at the same time. Obviously, the same stream and all that good stuff. So welcome, friends who are watching from YouTube. Glad to have you. Thank you for being here. And all of that good stuff. So today we're going to work on a tier list. I think our last tier list, it's been so long. I think it was like
I don't
early.
think we've done a tier list, a proper tier list, since well before Set 2 was released in Japan.
Yeah, like I think we did it like, no, I think it was before even Set 1 was released in Japan, because it was like very early OPO1.
I wish you great luck on Friday, Buggy.
King ST.
Saucy Queso, we're not opening one box on the on stream, but we would be. However, the boxes that we're ordering through my store are our distributor is saying that they're delayed. So.
Oh my god, already?
Well, they would already be in if it wasn't delayed. The game stores already have them.
Oh, okay. So, Set 1 deconstruction for how Japan left off the meta? Yeah, pretty much. King is obviously tier 0. Yeah, obviously. Obviously,
yeah,
yes.
so this isn't just... Our tier list is not going to be only about based on how Japan left off the meta, but also kind of our summation and experience with what little Western experience we have now, given the months of Set 1 online tournaments in preparation, playing with and testing with a bunch of those people. So...
Right.
We both have that we have to pull from the Japanese meta for sure, but we also are making some personal inferences for our prediction. I lost half my pre-order. I lost a little bit already, but that I've known that for months. So
yeah,
like I lost my store. It isn't getting 2.5 of the cases it ordered. So, but it should be getting enough to fulfill my pre-orders and just not enough to fulfill my personal order or anything for my shop to have remaining.
Yeah, it's a tragedy, but
moment we get our boxes though, it will definitely be a live streamed opening, probably from Casa de Max.
Yeah, well, I mean, I physically can't.
Drive to New York City and we stream it together.
Yeah, I mean, if you're willing,
here it is.
Go for it.
I am willing. I'm just poor. Note the difference. So,
yes.
Without further ado,
let's begin. I'm so hyped to talk about the tier list, and then I've seen so many YouTubers and content creators make so many tier lists for the One Piece card game. It's a very hot topic right now.
And I didn't. Ours is better than theirs.
Obviously. No, I mean it's really just I really didn't want to make a whole video for it because it's like everyone's doing it, so what's the point? But the stream dedicated to it, of course, I'll do that any day of the week. Did you hear anything
Wave
from
2 should not be happening until January.
Oh wow, ew.
Yeah.
I'm just scared of being shorted because
that's what I was told months ago.
Like the other order you did a long time ago with Super Release got shorted like crazy.
Yeah, but you and I get priority if we get shorted, so we'd have to get shorted literally a ton for at least you and I to not. You know what I mean? Like I'll refund the other pre-orders before I refund ours.
Yeah.
Set 1.
Set 1, baby.
Oh, that's still the Dino. You didn't set it up for bits.
What? Oh yeah. What the hell?
What a failure.
I wonder if it's because of the YouTube.
Because that was through Twitch. That was a Twitch thing. But, well, we'll fix it later.
Yeah, that's weird.
Samuel,
I'm so happy that there are 2 stores in my city running One Piece. The Super Release had no slots, but now there'll be store tourneys every Monday and Friday for release. When we're able to take it off. Yeah, I actually my big fear was not finding any places, but there's like a bunch of places near me because I'm in New York City and I don't even know I'm not sure if they're doing it weekly. I'm not sure. I don't have any information for myself. But if you're in New York City and you have any information about it, let me know. 'Cause I know Joe
Uh,
Silo has Staten Island. I know you have that, but I'm not going all with
yeah.
Staten Island.
I also want to try and compete twice a week. There should be one in my locals, and there is
You're gonna
another store
surprise me.
nearby that does one for me. So if nothing else, even if my store gets completely screwed, there is a locals I can go to. So that's nice.
No, for sure, Joe Silo. I'll let you know if I ever decide to go to one. Feel free to join me, and you can get creamed.
Ooh, spicy.
Just kidding, just kidding. I love you. Anyways, let's just dive into this. Whatever. Oh, sorry. First time chatter, Ray Mraz. Do you guys know if participation promos are allowed for the December events? That's a really, really good question. I don't know. I would have
Everything
to
should be
assume.
allowed in the December.
Yeah, I have to
I'm
assume.
not. Don't hold me to that. But
Yeah.
from my understanding as a store owner, every card that has been printed thus far will be allowed in the December events.
Come here, Dig. I'm only teasing Joe Silo. You're destroying me. I'm terrible at
He
this
is a
game.
dick.
I'm in Sweden. There's a store running Mondays and another store running Fridays. That's really sweet.
Go to both. Go to both.
Yeah, you
channels.
should do both, obviously. All right, so without further ado, we keep delaying this. Let's talk about this tier list. And I apologize if you're watching on YouTube and you're not seeing the Twitch chat. I'm not sure how that works yet.
I think they see both.
I don't. We could also just put the chat in the stream and that make it a little
Maybe
easier.
we need to start doing that these days.
We
to
might
make it-
need to. So the reason I haven't is just because I can't find the space. And
Hey, yeah.
it's just hard. All right, so
that
let's just start
background
where I would.
moving?
I mean, how do you want to start this, Max? You want to start from top to bottom, or you want to start, or the top to bottom? You want to start from bottom to top? Make it a little.
Well, we
interesting.
start. We go in order of the cards at the bottom, and we put them in a tier as we go.
All right, from bottom to top, and then we'll put in the tiers. Lovely, that's where I'm going. That's right.
From
All right,
left to
so
right. I don't know why you keep saying bottom to top.
because this is the bottom one.
Why would we start at Uta? You start with Luffy, work your way through.
Okay, so we're starting with Luke. Okay, that makes it a little bit less.
We put
interesting.
them in this order for that reason.
I mean, I'm okay with this. All right, so let's talk about Luffy. I feel like these tiers, like in terms of S, A, B, C, D. The only thing I should really want to mention is that like S is just like top, like tier, like godhood is the big baddie of this format. You need to watch out for it. Blah blah blah. A is something that's really competitively viable. Not as good as like whatever we put on S, but still really amazing. Nothing wrong with it. B is pretty average. It can top. We probably won't see it top all the time, but it does top. C is like you could play it. Yeah,
it
it's like
technically has topped in the past, but that doesn't mean you should be playing it.
And then
if
D
you're
is trash.
trying to win.
D is
And
just
then
trash.
just don't play D. Literally, just avoid D.
Yeah, it's like
Fun
why if you're
fact,
playing
I don't
D,
even
you're
care if any of the leaders in D have topped. I just strongly suggest avoiding D. We'll go over why each leader's in the tier that it's in.
yeah. So let's talk about Luffy first.
Yeah, we're gonna go in order of release. So we're going in order of no things in D have topped. Shut up. We're going in order of we're starting with the starter decks, then in set 1 in card order, and then Uta's last because she's the promo.
Yeah, whatever. All right, so
Monkey D.
Monkey D. Luffy from starter deck 1. I
Put him
feel
in A tier.
you think A tier?
Yep.
I've been thinking A tier too, and I want to talk about every single time we put it here. I want to talk about for a minute why we're putting it there.
Yeah.
Obviously. So I really like Luffy. It's definitely not big bad, but it's a very competitively viable deck. We've seen it top a ton. I mean, I can even talk
After it was discovered, it topped quite a few times.
Yeah, after it got discovered and really topping with the 4 Shanks, the 4 Luffy. Earlier iterations had the blockers, then it kind of shaved a little bit of the blockers. It still runs them, but it's not as heavy.
Saucy Queso Luffy is not irrelevant because Zoro exists, because Luffy and Zoro accomplish very different things.
Yeah.
Zoro is trying to be a mostly aggressive deck. Luffy is trying to play a beater every turn while capitalizing on your Dawn capabilities. Luffy's kind of a mid-range tempo, build a huge stat-wise, build a big statted board. Whereas Zoro is abuse the leader effect to make a lot of littler things hit a little bit harder.
Yeah, they're two different strategies.
Yeah, they solve very different niches in the meta, and both top quite a bit in Japan.
Yeah, they both
I was
do well.
right with you. Believe me, so was Anthony. We were all like, Luffy, don't even play this shit. Zoro's
Oh yeah,
there.
for the longest
And then
time.
one person figured it out one day, and ever since then, Luffy's been a very viable thing.
Yep.
And a very fun deck. My list is really fun.
It's a phenomenal deck, honestly, and I know Lance, another member of Moonman, loves that deck. He keeps playing with it like crazy.
It's all he plays.
It's all he plays, yeah. I think Luffy has a lot of competitive viability, especially like I was saying before Max was talking about relevancy, whatever. In the final, I reference this tournament all the time because I think it's a very important tournament because it's one of the last Asian tournaments of OPO1, if not the last. The last big one was Cavdeen Den's tournament. right? That's the one that we saw the first and second place finish split. That was Seraph Chaz and Noah commentating. They're phenomenal people. I love them both so much.
Yep.
Great guys. If you get the chance to ever talk to them, they're so sweet.
Chaz is really sweet. Yeah.
I love Chaz so much. He's one of my favorite people to talk to. I really like talking to Noah. Too.
Noah's a great guy too. We just don't have the same connection. With
Yeah.
With
Well,
Noah
we haven't got the opportunity. And I'm not gonna.
True.
I don't want to.
I'm not trying to shit on Noah. It's just Chaz.
No. Oh no. I want to tell them. I want to tell them, but I can't.
Tell them nothing. Tell them nothing.
Damn it.
Have secrets.
Yeah, we have secrets. Whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So I think Noah's phenomenal, and Chaz is phenomenal. I love them both. And in that tournament, my point is in top 16, there were a ton of red decks, but they were all Luffy. Not a single top deck was Zoro.
Yep.
Like they were all Luffy. So to speak to his competitive viability in that just alone, like it's so important. So that's why I think Luffy deserves a slot in A tier for sure.
Yeah, basically, if you're in A tier, you are topping consistently, which is what makes you meta competitively viable in our eyes. And but you are not one of the best decks in the format. You're not guaranteed to top every event. The decks in S tier, pretty much every serious event, you're gonna see at least one of those decks in Top Cut.
Yep.
Almost every time.
Almost every time, guaranteed. So speaking of, I'll just jump the gun and Kid. Kid is a very good example where I think it just goes straight S.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Kid has been the bad boy of the format since the set released. It has ungodly different numbers of variations. All of which, like, it's really the joke always was in the Moonmen. Our running gag was you could take Kid leader 3/8 drop kids and then shuffle every other green card in the game, pull 47 out, and you have a meta relevant deck.
Yeah, those good times. And it's still like green has some of the best cards individually. Like if we talk about Okiku, which I was watching True Champion Steven. I love watching some of his stuff. So big shout out to him. I think I was watching him during work because I was bored, and he was talking about how much he valued Okiku as one. He coveted it as the best card in the game. Granted, I don't think it's the best card in the game, but or maybe green. I don't remember what he said, but it is really high up there.
But it is very, very.
It's so high up there, and that's just one card. Let's talk about like
Okiku,
Basil Hawkins. So stupid.
5-drop Law.
5-drop Law.
8-drop Kid. Green has like the
7-drop Kid. I like a lot.
We're in this weird situation where by the time we reach set 2, right? By the time we've hit set 2, every color has 5-drop 7 kids. But I'm jumping the gun. Let's just talk about set 1. Blue runs a lot of Virgo, and purple runs a lot of Babanuki. These are the 5-drop 7K vanillas. And green, when it gets a 5-drop 7K, nobody even fucking cares because the 5-drop slot is already so much stronger in green than in every other deck that it's like all these other decks are abusing the fact that yay, we have 5-drop 7K vanillas, and green's 5-drops are just leagues ahead of every other colors.
Yeah, no,
because green's standalone cards are insane. They're
so stupid, and literally, they have Bonnie and Momo. Like I can go on and on.
The best searchers in the game.
And they're consistent, and they're just so stupid.
I've been playing a ton of Red Luffy with the Ben Beckmans and other tempo control instead of the Rush, and just a consistent deck. It really is the most slept on deck. That's also a very, very valid way to play that deck. Is just you play big vanillas, and then when you play a big vanilla, they're really hard to ignore, and you can play your big vanilla and then swing with leader using leader effect because triggers aren't going to hurt your big vanillas. It's a very efficient way to play. I think in my Luffy list I ran Yasops. I still ran mostly a Rush engine, but I did run Yasop. But yeah, the fact
vanillas
that
are great.
The film promos just in general right in December is so massive for our format.
Yeah, for a lot does, but especially for Red Luffy, it does wonders for that deck. So yeah, let's move on.
Green also
has Bonnie.
Yeah,
exactly.
Momo is insane.
I feel like I never pick up the 5, 7K or the 6, 8K for Kaido. I swap every day. I mean, I
like the 6, 8K.
I like the 6, 8K. Yeah, personally, I really like Fukuro Kuruju. The 6-drop.
And the reason is because on your turn, the only reason to play a 5/7 is on turn 3. If you're first, you play for 5. But on turn 3, if you're first, you should be playing for 6 anyway.
Because you have Oni.
That's the theory.
Yeah, in theory, that's
why
why
I like the 6/8. Seven Drop Kid is awesome against purple. 8 Drop is disgusting against blue. 7 Drop Kid is. Oh, thank you for the follow.
Oh, Commissar. I'm not. How do you say that? Commissar?
Commissar. That's what I'm saying.
Commissar. Yeah, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome to the stream.
7 Drop Kid can be very helpful into purple. It is also very helpful into mirror. Yeah. 8 Drop is helpful into literally everything except for purple, realistically. And even into purple, it's not terrible because if they board wipe and then you go 8 Drop and 2 blockers, like it's still a pretty good spot. So
yeah, no, for sure. I really do think green is just one of the stupidest cards in the game.
I actually don't even run 7 Drop on my current list.
Yeah, Max doesn't. He does fine.
I've been ouch! I just almost got a splinter under my fingernail.
You're an idiot.
Which is crazy because I've been bragging about 7 Drop is really fucking amazing since the dawn of time. Since it wasn't amazing, I was always like, "Hey, this card is so busted."
Yeah.
And then one day people started running it, and I was like, "I knew it!" Ha ha! And I don't even run it anymore. So
yeah, but he's one of the biggest advocates for it. It just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I think it's so funny.
With Okiku, can you rest a character and attack that same character? Not with the Okiku swing, because on attack declaration, Okiku's effect activates, and by the time you've hit attack declaration, you need to declare your attack target.
Commissars, yeah, first time chat thing again. You just followed. Sup guys, competitive Digimon player, but my group is going to take a look at One Piece as you should. I actually, we both played Digimon
Digimon players at one point.
Yeah, I wasn't super into it, but I did like it a lot.
I was more than him. That's true.
Yeah, I liked it. It was a great game.
I loved it. I had every deck in the game every time.
Yeah, for sure. Sets, but yeah, no, Commissars, I really take a look into One Piece. It is one of the best balanced game design. Like it's
designed
amazing.
Brilliantly.
Yeah, and its IP is great.
8 Drop #1 SR in set 1.
Wait, what would you say?
Saucy Queso right below that message.
Oh, I see.
8 Drop #1 SR in set 1. It's either that or board
no.
Wipe, right? Like it's one of the two.
Wait, would you say it was?
It's either that or board wipe, right? Like it's
no, I think law. 5-drop law.
I don't think it's 5-drop law.
I think it's 5-drop law.
I think board wipe clowns 5.
Board wipe is pretty nuts. Board wipe is actually crazy.
And here's my argument. Here's my argument for against 5-drop law. For board wipe specifically.
Yeah.
5-drop law. 5-drop law is my favorite card in the game, even though I only loaded up one in my kid list because I'm a maniac. But it's still my favorite card in the game, right? But here's the thing about board wipe. Board wipe is the reason an entire deck exists.
Yeah. Yeah.
The decks that play 5-drop law can live without 5-drop law.
Yeah. That's the big thing too. Kaido is the 10-drop is so good that it propels a set 1 deck into top set 2 tournaments.
Yeah. Like the new Kaido lists are almost exactly set 1 Kaidos with like next to no variation because the board wipe is so good. So I would argue board wipe over 8-drop kid. Do you think we are going to get the Moonman official deck recommended list for each deck set 1? We can.
You guys are
follow me on Patreon. You will. Link in the bio.
You're the official deck list. I mean, I know Max has been posting on Patreon a bunch of deck lists for set 1 recommendations for a really long time. So.
Oh yeah, I've been doing it for a long time.
I also
now that
have
set 1's actually out. One of my personal goals is to get each of my personal lists for every deck on Patreon, though. So
yeah,
be on the lookout for that.
Yeah. So and another thing too is I also have a law article on there. I mean, it's kind of outdated now because I actually have like a really different law list, which I should show on stream because I've been working hard on it. But I will eventually if you guys want after this maybe for a quick.
Yeah, when we're done with this tier list in 7 years.
Yeah, because we're still stuck on this.
How many boxes should I buy? Well, we're talking to chat. It's fine. How many boxes should I buy my Game Store's boxes on Friday? I mean, it depends on how seriously you want to take the game, but my rule of thumb is usually around 4, and then trade singles. Trade singles, 4 boxes should do it for you. If you want to play set of everything, I'd say 5, 6.
Yes.
See, that's the thing. If you're looking to build like every deck in the game, then 6 to 12, like realistically 12. But if you're just trying to get a collection going, build a couple decks, 4 is my go-to.
Yeah, I think 4 is definitely not bad.
And then right there, Zig Senpai said I did 4.
You can even I think you can get away with 3, but then you just buy you're gonna be short on some stuff, and just buy a couple of singles, and you're there. Like I think 3 is fine if you are willing to buy some singles.
I can definitely tell you the Blue Croc SRs are at the bottom. Yeah, those are both bad.
Easily. They're really bad.
The Blue Croc SR might be the worst SR out of set 1.
The only other one I like I don't like is 2-drop Luffy. I really hate that
Two
card.
drop Luffy's way better than Blue Croc though. Two
But
drop
yeah,
Luffy
I agree.
actually does see play in some Zoro
It
lists.
does see
Like
a
that doesn't
ton of.
even
I see,
happen.
and a lot of YouTubers or a lot of content creators. I see their Luffy list or Zoro list, and a lot of them really like that 2-drop Luffy SR, and I'm just like,
I
man,
mean, I don't know about. I wouldn't say I really like it, but I definitely can understand it.
I
Blue
can
Croc
understand
is
the appeal.
hardcore the worst SR out of set one.
Yeah,
Like
versus
by
Croc, I just think
means.
it's so bad. All right, speaking of Croc,
Um,
let's move on. Where do
not
you?
the leader, especially compared to green SRs. Yeah, no, the SR Croc on starter deck. Oh yeah, that's also awful. Six
Where,
boxes
where
gives
do
you
you
42 SRs, so you can trade to get a full set. Okay, fair enough.
Fair enough. Yeah. Where do you want to get put the Croc leader
Blue
here?
Croc I put in
B tier.
B
Yeah.
tier.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. So I
Blue
think
Croc tops every once in a while. If someone has
Yep.
it purely mastered, but it's an uphill climb. You need to have the deck completely mastered.
yeah, no, for sure. I think Blue Crocodile is a deck that you need to put a lot of time in, just like Law, but you get less rewards. Where like Law, you're just are so sweet. Whereas Crocodile, you have to have a lot of time just to like win a little bit. Like it's just a hard deck. It's a really hard deck. And I've seen like Max play blue for a long time, and he's really good. And he knows the deck inside and out. There's also a lot of different variations, and we do see Croc top in not only local scenes in 10 to 12 people, whatever, blah blah blah, but even like 100-person tournaments. We've seen blue Croc top. If you people, some of you guys can recall the Smiley Engine blue Croc list that everyone was really getting hyped over for a little while. So
So real quick, I want to touch on Commissarge. Are there any control archetypes like security control? So there's nothing like
No.
security control.
no,
Triggering still exists in One Piece like it did in Digimon, but nothing in set one is even remotely security control. Having said that, there are control archetypes. And anything blue leads into control. Like Blue Croc is control E,
Yep.
but honestly it's more tempo E. Green can be control, but it's not necessarily. The deck that I would say is the most control, and let's just go ahead and rank it right now, is the next deck we're going to talk about, Kaido, which is literally just purely board control. That's the whole shtick of the deck is ramp and board control, and it is S tier right below Kid.
oh Kaido, yep, sorry.
Yep.
I was listening to you, zoned for half a second, and it was like, oh yeah, Kaido. Yeah, no, Kaido is 100% one of the best decks in the game. You'll see it top every event, at least like in top 16. We've seen it again. I think I briefly mentioned it where we saw a set 1 Kaido list get first place in a set 2 tournament because it's just that good. With not a single set 2 card in it, I might add. That's just phenomenal.
Yeah, really.
So the deck still has
Commissarge, you
playable.
say you love board control. Kaido not
Kaido.
only is entirely
Oh,
board control,
yeah.
it's also S tier, like super hardcore best deck in game. One of them. It's
One of them.
also by far the easiest deck in the game and
Yes.
the cheapest deck in the game.
Yep.
So
Easy. I think
if you like board control, go to your locals and pick up 2 Kaido starter
Yep.
decks and buy like 5 singles, and you're there.
yeah, it's
ridiculous.
nuts. I mean, it really
It's one
like,
SR and a bunch of rares.
no, it's King's to 7-drop SR, so this too.
King is helpful but unnecessary, I would say.
If you're going budget, then it doesn't matter. But I think 7-drop is going to be really relevant coming into set 1, and we can talk more about that later too.
I love the balls of entering a set 2 tourney and winning it with only set 1 cards. Now do
Oh
that
my
again,
God,
except
yeah.
play blue purple Croc instead of Kaido, and you'll have my respect.
I'm pretty sure the math to get Oni in starting hand, including Mulligan, is 6 out of 10 games. Feels like 9 out of 10, to be honest. I don't even doubt. Like,
I can't imagine it's 6 out of 10. I do it every game.
I
don't even run backup ramp. I just don't care. Like,
yeah,
I just have
it's just
Oni.
whatever. I think Law will be more popular in the States, so 7-drop King will be seen more. Exactly.
I run 2 7-drop kick. Well, first of all, let's start with Law was ungodly popular in the East.
Heard
Like,
it
it
here
was
first.
a very popular deck. That
Oh my
topped a
God,
lot.
yeah. 100%.
But it will also be super popular in the West. And I do suggest 7-drop Law in your Kaido decks.
Yep. I think it's a
Especially
2 of.
budget is not a concern, and I don't even think it'll be that expensive of a card. So.
Yeah, so in terms of also where like and just with talking about how cheap Kaido is, like you only like it's only like those 2 SRs, and right everything else is just rares and below at
Starter decks,
worst. So when I talk to people about picking up this game, and I know AJ, my girlfriend, when I was teaching her the game and playing with her, she really likes Luffy because of Straw Hats, but then she picked up Kaido, and then like was this is deck limit battle, so obviously it's not the same, but the concept's still there. It's a very easy deck to play and learn, and she was just doing like 8 times better, and like she managed to get a couple games off me. So it was As far as I remember, I don't remember how many games, but like even then, it's a very easy deck to learn. I think it's a really good deck to learn the game itself, because you're just gonna compete with these top level decks just for existing. So I think Kaido easily deserves a spot in S tier. And also, I do want to note for our tier list that this is in order. So
Yes, so we
Kid
are
is
putting Kaido just below Kid.
yes,
Still in the same tier.
yes, absolutely. So yeah, it's
I want
because
to
you
catch
don't
up
feel
with chat
punishment at
real
all.
quick.
Minus
Zake
one.
Senpai, King SR is no more than a 1 in my eyes. I run it at 2, and
Yeah.
I cut 1 9-drop Kaido because it makes the Law matchup like leagues better.
Yeah.
It's still just so helpful into Law that I do like it at 2.
If you
I
want to
wouldn't run it
beat
at more than
Law,
2, though.
like I can talk from personal experience.
1 is fine, but
If I'm playing against Kaido, the 2 cards I don't want to see, like, is 7-drop King and 10-drop. And 10-drop is not as bad because you know it's coming. 7-drop, you can't play around it.
7-drop is really annoying. It really is, because then it's also it's a 7K body.
Yeah, and it's what really like the best thing I've seen. Like if I'm playing against Kaido, the best sequence of turns like after you Oni is not even 7-drop King. 7-drop King is great. If you're turn 2 player, obviously 7-drop King go first. But if you're playing Kaido and you're turn 1 player, you obviously you can't play the 7-drop King. So I've played against Kaido players that go 6-drop King, just like normal. Next turn, and then 7-drop King, and then just keep doing stuff like that over and over and over again, and I just lose automatically.
And not only are they clearing your board, but they're building their board. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Zake Senpai, I run 2 7-drop King and 2 of the 9-drop 10K Kaido. Because my old list had 3 of each of the big Kaidos and 1 7-drop King. And now with Law on the Rise, I cut 1 9-drop Kaido for 1 7-drop King. You definitely never needed 4 9-drop Kaido. Unless you're blue purple.
Pixco. I'm so happy that you actually mentioned that. With Lawless and Patreon, I have some trouble with Zoro. Do you have any tips for that? I'm actually so glad you mentioned it because with my list that I posted on Patreon, the Law list, it's worst matchup. Like Kaido is actually not that bad. Kid is not that bad. Zoro is like almost an auto loss. It's really, really hard. And I can go over how I deal with Law in like a couple of minutes after we do our tier list, because I obviously. It's really hard. Zoro's still like your hardest matchup is Law, 100 million percent. But it is playable, sorta, kinda. So speaking of Zoro and how annoying it is, we should put Zoro.
Again, A tier above Luffy.
A tier above Luffy. I have to agree. I think it's almost so. I think it's so close to S tier. It's like that like, so close, but it just isn't as good as Kid and Kaido, especially because if you're playing Zoro, if you're an avid Zoro player, like myself, I've tried to play Zoro since like forever. You're gonna lose it to Kid. Kid is your hardest matchup, and it's one of the most popular decks coming into the format of OPO1. And because it's so prevalent and powerful in the meta, it makes it that much worse.
Yep, absolutely.
So
Zake Senpai, my Kaido list is not currently on Patreon, but it is the next Set 1 article. It will be on Patreon within the next couple of days. And whenever I post a list to Patreon, I not only give the list, but I give detailed discussion as to why I run each card I do, and cards that I choose not to run, and why I chose other cards over them, and cards you could take out to include them. But it will be up in the next couple of days.
Yep.
And Pixco is glad we're going to go over your Law list because he thinks he's going to play against a lot of Zoro, and you're absolutely going to play against a lot of Zoro. Zoro is really
it's so popular.
in the States.
It's a very popular deck. And I mean, we can talk about a ton of topping lists in Zoro. It gets a lot of top 4s. It's got top
Except none of them are as good
first
as mine,
places.
But...
not as good as yours that you just said.
Yeah, that is what I said. I know it to be true. And let me tell you, chat. I'm gonna give you a little.
Shut up.
To our longtime viewers, I am debating between maining 2 decks in Set 1 right now. Both of them I have an extremely positive win rate with, and one of them is Kid, my Kid list, which is on Patreon. It's really good. The other one is Zoro, but it's not just any Zoro. It's Duck Tribal, and I'm running Duck Tribal right now in Set 1, and I've made it work to success. I'm beating Kids. I'm beating Laws. I'm beating Kaidos. I'm beating Anthony's. I'm beating other members of the Moon.
Did you say Anthony's?
With this, I did include Anthony's in there with this beautiful Zoro list. And you gotta go Duck Tribal. You gotta go Duck Tribal.
He knows it. He doesn't need to say it. He knows. It's Duck Tribal. So, I mean, just briefly talking about Max's list, we could talk about it later on the stream too. The Zoro list is really, really sweet, for sure. It came from inspiration from Set 2, and that is the only thing I'll say towards it. because we can
That's
talk.
true. It came from inspiration from preset one.
Oh yeah,
in
preset
my
one.
heart.
Because
In my heart
because preset one was the I missed
was
that
the
deck.
start of Duck Tribal.
Yeah, Duck
And we see the
Tribal.
Duck Tribal
We'll
so bad.
talk
When we
about Duck
finish
Tribal.
The tier list, we will show Anthony's Law list
Yep.
first, and then we will show Duck Tribal second.
We'll
and I'll go
we'll
over
we'll
what
talk
makes Duck
about
Tribal
the
cute.
decks that we've been messing around with in our heads.
Yo, okay, so I love this. Saucy Case, you say, so shouldn't you swap Duck with the Sunny from Udapak? And Samu goes, nah, both. So, real
Yeah.
quick, Saucy, I actually do, sadly, run 4 Sunny, and then I also run 4 Duck. You gotta run both.
Yeah,
All the
100%.
Sunny and a Duck, they're both Ducks. It's Duck Tribal.
Yeah,
You run
it wouldn't be
both.
Duck Tribal with only one duck. It's not Duck
Yeah,
Tribal.
You gotta run 2 Ducks.
Um,
It is only 2.
it's only
That's the
2.
last-
Yeah.
We don't run all 3 Ducks. That's the last.
Granted, I mean, I can't. I can speak to. I get creamed against that deck every once in a while. Like it's
Yo, Zelo, shut the fuck up. Sunny isn't a duck. Any 1-drop 3K vanilla is a duck.
Yeah, it is.
Just so you
That
know.
counts as ducks. It's in the stat duck line.
Beppo,
Duck.
Duck.
Yeah. Duck.
Buggy, duck.
But I can. It's a really cool deck. Granted, it fixes a lot of green matchup problems, but of course it has problems. Zoro's just Zoro.
Oh, yeah, it's not just strictly like I'm hyping it up a lot. Like,
Yeah.
It's not like it's S tier. I've solved the format.
No.
However, Buggy is your favorite duck. That's very reasonable. My
That
favorite
is-
duck is the duck, but Buggy
Yeah.
is a very reasonable.
Yep.
That's foul, Max. All right, I'm giving him this. Beautiful pun. I love it.
I love
Sunny and
that.
Straw
That
Hat
was good.
It's important in case you run Diablo. It's more
Yep.
important to be grabbable off of Nami. Can you explain why Zoro is below Kaido, please?
So-
we
yeah,
can.
yeah, for
Let's
sure.
go
I
back to the
think-
tier list.
Yeah. So so the reason why again, I'll re-explain why I think Zoro personally is below Kaido. Is because if you compare, well, one, you'll see Kaido top a million times. Kaido's easily S tier. It's
Kaido
easiest deck.
tops way more than Zoro. and
Yeah, yeah,
will
it tops
likely
way more than
continue
Zoro.
to be
Zoro,
that
the
way.
reason why it goes down essentially a tier is because, in our opinion, the best deck in the game. I don't want to just spoil it for you, but it's gonna be Kid. Kid is just
Kid is
stupid.
gonna be the top of S tier throughout this whole thing.
Yeah. It does nothing beats Kid, and Zoro has such a hard time with against Kid. You can be the best Zoro player in the literal planet, and it won't matter because Kid is just Kid. And 8-drop Kid really just shuts you down. And then
Moji's my favorite duck. That's a good
Okiku,
favorite
Bastles,
fucking
all
duck.
those stuff are just so powerful and good that there isn't a really good way for Zoro to punch over it, which makes it go down a tier. And Kaido doesn't have that problem. Kaido doesn't have a matchup it auto loses. It has matchups that goes like 50, 60, 40, like around there, but it never has a deck that says I now lose the tournament forever. Whereas Zoro does. I think Zoro definitely has a really bad matchup into green, and it makes it go down a tier easily. But even speaking to that, Zoro's
Kaido
also
has no auto losses. Zoro has. Kaido gets countered by literally nothing in the meta. Like,
Yeah.
it can beat every deck that exists. Nothing
Yeah.
is the Kaido
at
killer.
worst, at
Green
literal
is
worst.
the Zoro killer.
Yeah. At worst, I think it has a matchup against Zoro where it's if you're a really good Zoro player,
It's fine.
it's like not even that
It's
bad.
still super winnable. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
not,
it's like 60-40 at worst.
if even.
If even.
And it depends on the Zoro list.
Yeah, it really depends. If your Zoro list isn't tailored to play against Kaido consistently, then you're gonna lose. And I feel like
Coming to save the day, opening the way for Jet Pistol. That's fact.
I feel like that's another big problem with Zoro is if you tailor your list to beat Kid, you lose to Kaido, and if you tailor your deck to beat Kaido, you lose to Kid, and there's no way to fix it.
Samuel, absolutely to both of your things. Duck Tribal should be in a separate tier, the tier S plus. Agreed, because it is. That good.
Yeah, 100%.
And also, we should forever until the end of time refer to any 1-cost 3K vanilla as a duck in any color. Doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
it's always
I
duck.
absolutely agree.
It's always the ducks. Should we make sure that, auto losing matchups are not making decks go down a tier. The fact that an S tier deck is the counter matchup makes it go down a tier. Auto losing
Yes,
yes,
exactly.
100%. Exactly. It's not that you're auto
Because
losing.
if it was like, it's first of all, it's not auto losing. It's
No,
just a very hard matchup.
It's really.
But also, if a deck has a really thank you for the follow.
Thank you. It's Zippa for the follow. Welcome to the
If
Moon
a
Men stream.
deck has a really bad matchup into like a C tier deck that every once in a while some rogue.
Oh
asshole's
yeah,
gonna
who
run,
cares?
We're not gonna drop it out of S tier.
No.
right? The point is that Zoro, even though it can be green, it is very hard. It's an uphill battle. Your entire deck needs to be built around it properly, and green is the best deck in the game. So
First time
Isaiah,
chat.
what's good?
Just say gaming. What's up, bro? Love you.
Thanks
And
for
he's
following.
following. Oh man, welcome to the stream. Thank you for
Imagine
coming.
getting hard countered by Blurple Croc. That's
I
the end of his
can.
life.
That's not possible. All right, so I mean that's my reason for Zoro being where it is. I mean, yes,
Yes.
again, if Kid wasn't so popular and the just best deck in the game, then Zoro would be S tier,
Kid was
100%.
A tier, Zoro would be S tier.
Yeah, like it would just switch, but that's not the case. We don't live in I want to live in fairy tale land where Kid isn't the most stupidest thing in the world, but here we are. It's so stupid. So moving on to that, we'll move on to our law. Law, in my personal opinion, belongs right there.
I absolutely agree.
And it is the bottom of our S tier trio. No other deck. I'm gonna spoil it. I don't care. that
Samuel in Duck Tribal in set 2, you just do that with Zoro. My set 1 and set 2 Zoro decks are both Duck Tribal, so be ready for that.
Yeah. So it's well, I just lost your thought. Law is Law, Kaido, and Kid are the big bads of the set 1 format. Now, I personally think in terms of Law is easily the hardest deck in the game to learn if you're new.
Yeah, to start playing.
Yeah, if you're new. And if you master Law, you get a ton of reward. Like, there's so much buyback. And the same thing with Kid. Kid, I feel like, but the difference with Kid is it's easier to play. It's a very easy deck to play. But I personally have made this like a point like a million times that I think Kid as a deck is harder to purely master than Law. Law is really hard to master. Like I think it goes like here's Kid and here's Law. It's like that close. But I think a truly good Kid player like who master the deck is way more rare than a really good Law player to master the deck. Because
so for some reason, Ant, I'm noticing now. I don't know if you are. I'm not seeing the chat in YouTube on my collab cam. So I just saw a YouTube chat message because I've got it open. So real quick, shout out to Vincent Putz. Thank you for loving the deck list on Patreon. And I'm glad you're practicing Law because that deck is nuts.
Thank you. Yes. I really love that Patreon list. I've been
it's a good list.
Playing with it since the dawn of time. Sorry if I didn't mean to ignore you, people who are on YouTube. I don't know.
It was just that one thing. That's why I brought it up. But
yeah, it's not popping.
Now that I know that that's the case, I will make a very conscious effort.
Yeah, Max, if you want to keep an eye on the.
Yeah, I will keep YouTube on my second screen so that I can guaranteed see both chats.
Yes, that would be phenomenal. Thank you. Let me.
What's up, Skirian? Good to see you.
Hey, what's up, Skirian? What's up?
Thing some games, but man, that 4 life is really starting to hit me. Set 2. Oh, set 2 Law.
Oh, set 2
I was
Law.
the biggest advocate for set 2 Law, and it's just not the way.
Set 2 Law, and I was telling Max this too. Like even with our build, I just.
Pixco goes. That's me. I switched because of that.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it just isn't. It's just not the way. It sucks. It's fortunate because I love Law, and it just goes down like 2 tiers in set 2. And also because Zoro gets so much better in set 2 that like we'll talk about that another day. But
yeah, set 2 tier list. That's another day.
That's another day. But because it's the same thing, that reason why Zoro's in A tier, where Law it gets the same exact problem with Law. But Law definitely belongs in S tier. Very early OPO1 format. We always said if somebody solved Law or something like that, it just jumps really high in the tier. And now it has been solved, quote unquote. There's so many times it tops in really big tournaments. It may be slightly less popular coming in the beginning of set 1, just because a lot of new players are still going to figure it out and try to play around with it and do other stuff. But it's one of those decks that if you'll be less people playing it, but it will consistently get like really high place topping because the people who master Law are just nuts with Law, and it matters.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about again different Law lists after this and stuff, and I'll go through my whole spiel. But Law is definitely amazing. But there are definitely things that can go wrong against Kaido, against Kid, against Zoro. Like there are definitely things that can really hurt, and you have to really know how to play into those matchups. Yes, it is S tier, but you need to put the time and effort to make it that good. If you don't put this is not average player. This is like tip of the iceberg tier, and Kaido is just so easy, and it's very easy for anyone to get into that S tier, in my opinion. Where Law and Kid are way harder to, but they're better for doing it.
Yeah.
Except Kaido is just better into Law than Law is into Kaido, so I think Kaido deserves slightly edging out Law in terms of order here.
Yep. So Samuel, Whitey Bay Garp solo set to Law easy. That's why it goes down 2 tiers. Fun fact: I fully believe you that Whitey Bay Garp solos Law, and that's really funny. But that is absolutely not
Garp's
why.
actually a really hard matchup for Law.
I believe that wholeheartedly.
I've
But the
tested it.
reason
It's
that
hard.
Law sucks in set 2 is the 2 decks that matter more than any other deck on the planet are Zoro and Kinemon, and both
Yeah.
of those suck for Law. That's the real reason.
Tetra. Oh, you're the one. I know you top with Zoro like a bunch of times recently. Congratulations
Yep.
for that. I
He
love
came
your
in first
list.
with it.
Yeah, you came first with it.
We're
Congratulations. I
gonna
love your
make a
list. I love
YouTube
it.
video about it. Yeah.
I hate the fact that Kaido is so easy to play, making it so popular. Losing to it makes you feel like someone stole your win. I wouldn't want to be a Law just facing against Senpo's 7-drop king on a bad hand. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Kaido
That's
is
hell.
just the way. It's super annoying. You have to accept that sometimes it's gonna happen.
I'm in love with David Hartley, who's out here saying some people can't wait to see my boy Blurple Kaido land an SS tier because oh god, that just speaks to my heart with Blurple Kaido. But
Yikes.
I think you might be a little disappointed when
Yeah,
we
you
get
might be. All right, so
Blurple
let's move
Kaido.
on to Red Green Luffy.
Oh, I know, I'm memeing. I just want to bring up Garp anytime. Beautiful, beautiful, Samuel. You're doing a great job.
So yeah,
Keep
Red.
trolling the internet. Yeah, let's talk about Luffy and put it
Yeah.
in C tier.
Yeah, let's just put it in C tier. That's exactly where it goes. It definitely doesn't top.
Top like twice.
It tops like a couple times. And it did get like a first place finish when it topped. We saw the 4-drop 6K version of the Luffy deck. Sorry, where you have the promo
4 drop
Luffy
6K Luffy
at like
that you can
4.
untap.
Yeah, yeah, and then he also ran one ship, 1000 Sunny, which was nuts. Which I still think is terrible, but that's whatever. But it doesn't really top outside of that, anyways.
Thompson Skirian plays it. Yeah, but
I mean, yeah, it tops and Skirian plays it, but
listen, here's the
Skirian
thing.
can play
Anything Luffy
trash.
can do, Law can do better,
and he's
and
fine.
it's a 4-life leader.
Yeah.
Law being a 4-life leader is barely okay, right? Like it barely gets past.
Yeah.
But Luffy just doesn't have that.
I mean, I got a spicy Blurple Kaido that's been running hot on Sim. Hey,
I'm very
hardly
excited
okay.
to hear that, and that's
Yeah.
awesome.
That's really good. I love. I
If
mean,
you're friends with me on Discord, send me on Discord. I'd love
yeah,
to
yeah.
see
I would
it.
love to see that. I would love to see your list. But I
One thing
also
about Kaido is running 12 no shield card characters. It makes it feel it's easy to get rushed. It is somewhat easy to get rushed.
sometimes, but
Kid runs the same number realistically, if not close
10 to
of
12.
cards. Yeah, 10 to 12. With 8-drop Kid and Basil Hawkins and Okiku and 5-drop Law, you're running just as much dead.
Yeah.
Right? And you have access to way less 2K counters and not access to Blast Breath. And Kid is still beating Zoro, which is the rush deck, like beating it down.
yeah,
Kaido just makes up for it by having A, Blast Breath, B,
Yep.
Queen, C, by being purple, you have access to a ton of 2K counters
yeah, absolutely.
and 2-drop blockers. So
Yep.
it's pretty good at keeping that life.
So I mean, as much as I think Luffy can top, and I think people who play Luffy and master Luffy, like they're awesome. I have my respect, Skirian. Big shout out to you. Just I know how good and much time you put into Red Green Luffy, and I respect the hell out of it. But that alone doesn't make it S tier or A tier or B tier. Like
Is
it's
Kaido
unfortunately.
able to defend against Kid if he just attacked twice as much as possible? Yes and no. As a Kid player, the way I beat Kaido, as a general rule of thumb, is by just using early aggression to keep him low so that I can play 8-drop and he can't board wipe without losing. But Kaido is able to defend. It is
Yeah.
possible, especially with the high quantity of blockers in a Kid deck. Because if they play blockers, you're tapping down and answering the blockers, which means you're not swinging face that turn.
100%.
So, well, it's I wouldn't call it an auto loss either way.
No.
But the strategy you're describing is how you play Kid into Kaido, at least in my opinion, and Kaido can defend it.
Toucher, you make anyone read both Law and Luffy if they played at least 4 games of OPG Sim, and they'll tell you which one sounds better. If you make, will you make anyone read both
Yeah,
Law?
he's saying if anyone
yeah,
reads
yeah.
the effect of Law and Luffy, they'll
Yes,
realize
that's
the
another big
loss
thing
are
too.
done.
Law is such an broken effect, which
You
it
can
makes
just
up
play
for the
Law
deficit.
instead of Luffy, which makes Luffy a
Yeah, especially because a lot of the C and D tiers are gonna be decks. It's like, oh, why play this when there's a better version of the deck? Like Luffy is great
Yep.
and it does something different than Law 100%. But why play Red Green Luffy when you can just play Law and be gone?
Yeah. Zeke Senpai, you feel like set 2 9-drop Kaido is not that good with all the rush, and the SR King might become more of a thing? I absolutely agree. I also think Magellan will become more of a thing because it helps your black matchup, and if black ever gains popularity, Magellan is really good in the black. Is
Yeah.
$70 for a 4-pack of starters worth it? If we're talking about 4 starter decks in total, including shipping, probably not. Starter decks are the MSRP is $12. So
Really?
yeah,
I thought it was
MSRP of the starter deck is
15.
$12.
Oh my
Sure,
god.
12. I'm 80%. Don't like.
If
I
that
could be
includes
slightly
shipping, then
wrong.
that isn't that correct? Because if it's 12
It
times,
depends on where it's shipping from and to, I guess.
I guess. I still gotta buy my trial decks off you.
Yeah, I sold my decks for €14 each, so that would be 56. Kind of expensive.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm almost certain MSRP is $12. People may charge 15 because MSRP is not mandatory.
Yeah, I can't.
Right?
I mean, I wouldn't be
15
surprised.
is also not unreasonable. Right?
No,
Like, if I walk into a game store and they're charging 15, I'm not gonna be like, oh wow, fuck this game.
Yeah, I honestly thought they'd be selling them for 20. I'm not gonna lie.
I just don't know where to get them locally. Get them off TCG Player.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
It's the best way to do it.
Yeah, easy. All right, so let's move on to Odin. I know one of Max's favorite decks, and low key, I'll give him a shout out even though he doesn't deserve it. Yeah, nice try. Where he was the first Odin player to finish first place in a tournament ever in the world, as far as we know. Dating back
Ever
records,
recorded.
ever recorded, yeah, ever recorded first place finish we know of in the planet.
Oh, if TCG Player is the 70 shipped for a 4-pack, TCG Player is the best deal you're gonna get if you don't.
So I'll give him that shout out, even though he's a butt munch. But so Odin, I think that goes in B tier, right, under Croc.
Yeah, definitely B tier. In all seriousness, if I'm not just memeing and saying double S tier, Odin has a lot going for it, but
Yeah.
it's very similar to Red Green Luffy, where Odin gets almost none of the tools that Kid doesn't also get.
Yep.
And Kid just is kind of better than Odin.
A lot of like credence to Odin though. There is a lot of cool things going for it. Being able to spam your Momo, spam your Bonnies early, like crazy amount. Your opponent can't answer.
Mom,
that.
bring the camera. I'm in finals with Odin. They won't believe
it. That's funny.
It's recorded somewhere. There's a YouTube video.
Yeah, yeah, we have a YouTube. If you go to our channel, for those who are on YouTube, you should be able to easily find it. There is an Odin undefeated deck list that Max used. Yep, 100%. So
get him on SS tier just to spite. Just so I saw it happen. Thanks, Joe.
That's another thing to mention about Kinemon. Now you mention it, that you have access to the Kinemon character card in when you're playing Odin, which is pretty sweet. It was Max in across from me, but he won.
Yikes.
That's funny. All right, so that's all I really gotta say about Odin. Odin is great, but you should just play Kid if you really, really want to top big tournaments.
Yeah, Odin is just worse Kid. Sadly.
Odin's just worse Kid, which is unfortunate, but there is.
Which does a few cool things that Kid doesn't, but Kid is
honestly.
Kid just so much better.
Another thing too, I'll also speak to. I'm not trying to interrupt you, Max. Sorry, I'm not sure.
You're good.
If that's coming across that way.
Fuck you.
Yeah. I can't believe it. If you're looking at blue versus green, blue I think definitely goes above green because just in terms of topping in tournaments in Asia and Japan, blah blah blah. We've seen blue top really big tournaments like every once in a while with some different lists, and they all kind of really good. Odin barely tops big events, almost if ever. If you do see Odin top, it's most likely a smaller tournament. Comparatively to the 100 plus tournaments that Croc does sometimes top, or even get first place in. So, not to say that Odin is a bad deck and that you shouldn't play it for tournaments. Absolutely not. If you feel comfortable playing that deck is phenomenal. But you just play Kid.
Yep.
So moving on to one of our favorite decks in the game, the gorgeous baby that we both love so much, but we'll never play.
Funnily enough,
Flamingo.
Let me tell you guys a story about Doflamingo. We can put him real quick. He's in A tier.
A tier, yeah. He's right there.
Between Luffy and
between. I actually thought he was here, but
I think he's above Luffy.
I honestly kind of disagree. I think he's right here, but
I kind of don't care one way or the other.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'll put him where you want him, just cause
I think it's
so irrelevant.
Where we had him before was there, you know.
Yeah, like it's fine. And I felt
one I think he's below Luffy.
Sam like that.
All right, you know what? If Samuel thinks he's below Luffy,
all right, yeah.
Put him below Luffy.
Obviously, just gonna.
We listen to our viewers. But anyway, funny story. This is a true story. If you go way back in our YouTube videos, you will see Anthony's Doflamingo list and my original Odin list from back when we were still figuring shit out.
Yep.
And then we loved those decks so much that even though there's not a single fucking like kid list on our channel or like a single law list video or like anything that actually matters, I went back and came in first place undefeated with both Doflamingo and Odin. And so there's 2 deck list videos for each of those fucking like fringe off decks instead of anything that actually matters or is relevant. Because that's what I do.
Yeah, that's funny. Tetra, today I was thinking about Odin. Isn't it a thing totally ignoring the Wano theme and making Turbo 8-drop Kid build? The only side of that card is you don't have Dawn to work with after you do it. Having 2 more might be useful in some way. So
you could, what you're describing is just a Kid deck, and if you're ignoring the Wano theme, then you can never use your leader effect. Like, it'll never happen.
Yep.
So at that point, just use the Kid deck because it's got a more efficient leader effect.
Yes.
You cannot ignore the Wano theme when playing Odin.
Is your Daffy list different than the YouTube than the video you made? So the latest Doflamingo list is our current Doflamingo list, and it has not changed. It is definitely not changed.
If it has changed by like maybe 2 cards,
maybe
like individual 1 card
maybe
switches.
I think the only thing
I think I'm still repping the exact same list.
Yeah, I think so too. I think I agree. I think the only difference is I know we have access to the promo law, and I don't think that changes much, but it is a thing.
I run that in Croc, not in Doflamingo.
Yeah, you play that in Croc, absolutely. Yep. But like, I'm just saying, I don't remember if you decided to because I know you tested it.
I mean, I test everything.
Yeah, you tested
I
the
tested
stupid.
It with fucking 2-drop Jinbei. Like
no, you tested oh my the jankiest thing that you tested in my opinion is always gonna be the infinite blocker.
Infinite
blockers. Always.
You lost to it though, so.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, like 1 out of 5 games, but it happened.
Like 1 out of 20 at most.
We only played 5 before I gave up on it.
Okay, whatever. All right, so let's talk about Doflamingo because we guys are waiting for it.
The fact that Tetra, what I think is really cool about Dofi is it hits the magic 7K just by playing.
Yep.
Yeah, 7K is just such a good number.
7K
what
is phenomenal.
What is the infinite blockers? I'm glad you asked. So.
Oh, infinite blocker. Yeah, I'll show you.
There's a 2-drop 3K blocker in set 1 that is purple, and then there's another purple card that makes the 2-drop 3K blocker unable to be killed in battle. So if they don't have any card effects to remove those cards, you could just have like 3 blockers on board that can block every turn.
It's these
there
2.
They are, the Kurozumis.
Yep, Kurozumi, Semimaru, on play, family Kurozumi type characters other than Semimaru can't be KO'd in battle, and then there's a 2-drop blocker. Sigarashi, which sees play in set 1 like 100,000,000% all the time. It's a great blocker, but now if you use this blocker while this is on board, it doesn't die. So it's infinite blocker because he can block. It doesn't matter how big it is.
I promise you, I've tested it. I've tested it in Kaido, King, Blurple Croc, and Blurple Kaido. Just let it go. I've tried.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
I've put in the. I've lived through the hell for you. It doesn't work. Samuel, if you play Red Green Duck Tribal, you can play 20 ducks. All right, I'm sold.
Red Green Duck Tribal, you can play 20 ducks. I mean, you're essentially already doing that by playing Law anyways.
Yeah, you can just play Law instead of Luffy and still play Duck Tribal.
Yeah.
It's memeier to play Luffy, so I'm there.
It is memeier. So, I mean, Doflamingo also being able to play your Warlords off the top of your deck is just so much value. Your opponent kind of has to answer it eventually, or I mean, they could ignore it, but if they don't...
Yeah, Tetra, that's exactly
If they don't... answer it in some way, shape, or form, eventually they just accrue so much value. Dofi just wins. Dofi is a lot about resource management and knowing about how your opponent's deck is played. It is very hard, like Crocodile. Like
if you're playing Dofi, you're playing Katakuri. And the point is, yeah, I just remember Red Green instead of Zoro. Yeah, the point is, Dofi is all about observation hockey. It's about future.
Yeah, I was like,
playing Dofi, you need to have every single deck in the game already mastered. And then you can play Dofi.
Yep.
And because you need to know exactly what your opponent is going to play 5 turns from now, so that you know how to stack your deck appropriately.
Yes.
And that's why it's so crazy hard.
It's really hard. And again, Dofi is slightly above Croc in my opinion. Like they are right next to each other technically. If you put them like in a list down.
I think it should be above Luffy, but
I mean. Yeah, you could
but then either way, they're pretty next to each other.
Yeah, it's actually like honestly, if I were like, if you put a gun in my head, obviously I'm gonna say this. But honestly, this is totally fine in terms of tier.
It's so not.
It's so close.
I so don't care. You know what I mean?
I think Luffy definitely has more representation in topping. Like it definitely does, 100,000,000%. But
but Dofi's also so hard.
Dofi is hard. That's the problem. Although Dofi has the same problem as Zoro, where because it's worse. Counter matchup, its worst matchup is Kid. Kid is really, really hard because H up Kid.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. So, anyways,
no, it's so not. Its worst matchup is Law. by like league.
Oh yeah, you're right. It's Law. You're right. Law's worse.
As
You're right.
Doflamingo, I consistently beat Kid and I consistently beat Kaido. As Croc, I consistently beat Kid.
You're
and I
right. It's actually
consistently beat
Law. I
Kaido.
forgot about Law.
The reason these blue decks don't exist is because of Law, not because of Kid and Kaido.
Yeah, Law is just so. Law does everything that like the reason why Law is kind of annoying for me when I was playing. I'm sorry, Dofi was when I was playing Dofi. Kid was very annoying for me because H-Drop Kid just turned off everything and we didn't have a build.
Yeah,
that
but you just
answered
need
it.
to. I think we figured that out.
Yeah, we
Like,
did
that's
figure
not-
that out.
That's
But
no
now,
longer the case.
but the problem with Law is that it does the same thing Kid does in the same problem, but like worse.
Yeah,
It's like way worse. So
I have
yes,
people
actually,
complain
Law
about
is is
thinking
8 times
about my
worse.
Next 2 turns because otherwise I lose the game. Playing Dofi on the sim is actually hell.
It's pure hell.
Needing to put the cards back in like reverse order is really bad.
Yeah,
And I
I
screw it up all
Dofi
the time.
is
I go,
a
okay, I literally, this is what I do. I think to myself, okay, remember,
on set.
this is the card you want to put down first, so put it last. And then I'll get the order and I go, got it, I'm there. And then like immediately click all 5 cards and go, oh. Like it's such a
You have to like play. Remember, it's like play, draw, play, draw, play, draw, play, draw, play, draw, 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 play. Like it's
mastered the reverse stacking, good.
yeah. The reverse stacking is that throws me off on Sim. If you don't know what he's talking about, if you play a card like Perona or Dofi that belongs in the Doflamingo deck, if you're playing on the OPTG Sim, which is very popular, you definitely should check it out. Batsu's a genius.
Oh, yeah.
When you look at the top 5 cards of your deck, you put the top card
Jack
back on
Dixon,
top.
Welcome from Singapore.
So you're stacking it backwards normally because you can stack it easily. It's just like, oh, top is the next card you're drawing, draw, play, draw, play, draw, play. But if you're doing it on Sim, you have to think about it reverse order, and that's a pain in the ass. And that's why I don't like playing Sim or Dofi on Sim.
Yep.
But yeah, no, Dofi is very similar to Zoro in the case that an S tier deck is really hard to beat against it. It's just almost impossible, and not almost impossible. It's just really, really rough, and it makes it go down. And I think if Law didn't exist as well as it did, Dofi would be either really, really close to S tier or just straight S tier.
Yeah.
It'd be really close.
I think it'd be S tier without Law. I do.
I don't know. It'd be a conversation. It'd be really
Yeah.
hard to argue because without Law, it's just there's so many different things happen. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
So Doflamingo is really sweet. But it's just slightly off the godhood that it is these 3 titans. So blue, purple, Kaido. Interestingly enough, we had the very early in OP1 testing. This is very, very early in our testing. Our first tier list considered blue, purple, Kaido to be like SS tier. Like it was like really, really high in our tier list.
We were so certain it was the best deck in the game.
Yeah. Based on like, and this is before any tournament top. Like
yeah, this was based on our testing as cards were getting revealed, and then when they were fully revealed, we just stuck to it.
So Kaido is blue, purple, Kaido. I still have a personal love towards it. It's
me too.
It's a great
My first
deck.
ever main.
Yeah, it's a great deck. However, I think we put it at was it top of C?
It's top of C.
Yeah, top of C tier. Why play blue, purple Kaido when you can just play Kaido?
Or honestly,
Croc. Or Croc. Yeah.
Or Dofi.
The problem with all the 4 life leaders, just as a general rule of thumb, is that Zoro exists, Kid exists. There's just so much aggro that can hurt, and they're good decks that you'll see, and they're popular. And that 4 life matters a lot.
The problem isn't even really aggro to me, right? The problem with 4 life leaders is that there are 3 realistic playstyles in this game that are S tier, right? Like, let's look at the 3 S tier ways to play. You've got aggro in the form of either Zoro or maybe Law, depending on who you are.
Depending on your build.
And then you've got Kid, which has the leader effect of attacking twice, which makes starting with 4 life really hell. And then you've got Kaido, who auto wins when you're at 2 life, which makes starting at 4 life really hell. And that's the problem with 4 life leaders, I would argue, is more about Kaido than anything else.
Personally, in my mind, how I think about 4 life leaders, and what you guys should also do, is talking about your net plus and minus easily. Just an easy way to just think about every single card you get. Like when you're playing a card from your hand, you're minusing 1, right? And then if you're drawing a card, it's a +1. Because if you're minusing 1, when you're playing a card, yes, you're minusing 1 from your hand. It's a -1, but you have a body on board, so technically it's a neutral, right? And if you think about it that way. So life in One Piece is like a plus or -2, right? So if you have, we're thinking about it
because one is one value of having a life, and another is the value of the card going to your hand.
Right, and it's 1 less attack.
Leader,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a you're stopping an attack and you're getting card back. Like, it is of net value of like 2.
Yes.
And if you're playing a 4 life leader, you are at -2 at the start of the game against a 5 life leader automatically. And if you're doing that, your leader and the deck has to be amazing. It has to be something like an effect or something that's happening to make up for the fact that you're a 4 life leader consistently. And no 4 life leader really does that except for Law.
Yep. Skirian, just a real quick tangent here for you. I'm working on breaking into set 2. Give me some time.
Yeah, he's trying. I think
Trying
we've talked
really
about this.
hard. Got
David
there.
Hartley said, "I'll
I
break it."
got there.
Yeah, good
I'm
luck.
like halfway there, Skirian. Don't worry. Private message.
I mean, but again, I'll speak to how awesome Blue Purple Kaido is because playing your 9 drops, if you have Onigashima on field, you can 9 drop Kaido 2 times in a row. Like, that's so stupid. Like, that's just dumb.
Yeah, Tetra, I agree. The 2 colors don't really synergize well with the way you want to play Blue Purple Kaido, and the leader effect is relatively easy to play around. So,
all right, so
I am the OG hybrid Kaido player, right?
Yeah. Moving on to Blue Purple Crocodile. Ooh, thank you for the raid, Maverick. Thank you for getting TGG for the raid. Appreciate you, bud. Anyways, going to talk about Blue Purple Croc. I think he's D tier, right?
D tier.
Yeah, top of D. I think he's virtually unplayable.
Actually, real talk, we have 3 leaders left, and funnily enough, there are 3 D tier leaders. So just in order too. So slap them in D.
I will. Yeah, this is literally the D tier list. Yeah, but just quickly, why I think Blue Purple Croc is just phenomenally bad is that the effect of it is very counterintuitive to what One Piece wants to do. Yes, you're defending early and stuff, but you're not getting anything back for like getting your hand low and then drawing. Like, it's kind of mediocre. You're not getting more like so much value compared to
the effect is
really
not
anything.
Worth having a 4 life leader.
Yeah, it's not.
Or how difficult and awkward it is to play. And now you're tripping Blue Purple Croc next to Dofi. Okay.
Okay.
And then
you play a tournament. You
on top of that,
how that goes.
Yeah, top with it, Tetra. Like top like 4 tournaments in a row. Your next 4 tournaments, and I'm there.
Yeah. Then you'll convince me, sure. Yeah. I mean, you won't, but I'll just think you're the best player, Blue Purple Kaido or Blue Purple Croc player that's ever.
Yeah, I'll be like, look at this Blue Purple Croc god. I'll put it next to blue, red, green, Luffy.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah,
or I'll even be nice. I'll even do that. That's the highest I'll go. Final offer.
It's a 4 life leader. Its effect is really hard to make work. It forces you on a critical mass of events, which makes having a good amount of counter stats hard, which makes it extremely susceptible to aggro. If I have gold hands. If I ever top with it, that's a fact.
I think also just, and I know I said this very briefly, but I think Blue Purple Croc is the worst deck for new players to play. It is easily. I think what the game wants you to do, Blue Purple Croc, is counterintuitive to how you play normal. Like, it plays very differently than every other deck in the game, and not for the better. And I feel like you're gonna learn how to play like a dum-dum if you're trying to play too much into it. Like, you're gonna start making dumb mistakes with other decks. I'm saying. I'm not. What'd you say?
Saucy Queso said Uta not in Z tier ? If you consistently top with Blue Purple Croc, I would consider you the best player in the game. Challenge accepted.
Wait, there you go.
No, get it the fucking bottom.
All right, fine.
I'll kill him.
All right,
let's talk about Uta and King, because Uta and King are D tier for the exact same reason.
Yep.
Their leader effects already exist in another, what they are trying to do as a deck already exists by another deck in B and A tier. Uta is a way worse Zoro. It forces you to run. It forces you to run vanillas instead, which is way worse. Remember when I made you play Purple Croc before that Good Day tourney? Yeah, I do remember that. Samuel, that was great. It forces you to run worse cards while not giving you as big of a stat boost overall throughout the whole game. And King has a way worse leader effect than Kaido, even though it can run the same good cards. So they're literally just strictly worse versions of decks that already exist without giving you any actual benefit, which is what makes them D tier.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I like the thing of the King is just also I really hate that how it literally its effect only works if you're turned on, and Purple's entire
Kaido wants to not be at 10 on, right?
Yeah, Purple's entire identity
it's counterintuitive.
is Dawn minus. So it's just so counterintuitive. Like that deck is whatever. But however, I will mention, I guess, that King did in fact get a second place
Second
finish.
place finish.
Second
Blurple
place
Croc
finish.
got a first place finish.
Blurple Croc has also gotten a first place finish. It has happened. It did. It happened like twice, I think.
The only deck in this list that has not gotten a first place finish, it's happened once. The only deck in this list that has not gotten a first place finish is King, and it's gotten a second place. So that's not really a good argument for.
Yeah, that's not an argument at all.
Like,
but I will.
One Piece is such a good game that it's very well diverse, and player skill matters more than the tier of your deck.
But I just want to shout out the guy who did get second place with him. What was his name?
King.
Was his name really King?
King something.
Yeah, I don't remember his name, but he did have a YouTube video up for
King
it.
Craig. His name is Craig.
King Craig?
His name is King Craig.
Yeah, something like that.
He watches our stuff.
Yeah, he watches our stuff. He pops in our stream every once in a while. Love the guy. Such a great player.
The platform with the most newbies, but I played Blue Purple Croc for 2 days and I have like 90% win rate. Not destabilized because I see a light at the end of the tunnel making me think it's good. That happens to me all the time on the sim. Don't get baited. I mean, I understand Uda not being great because it's a promo, right? But King and Blurple Croc not being great a second, considering they're 4 cards in set 1. I mean, at the end of the day, you have to have bad leaders. Like, there's got to be bad apples. Not every leader can be S and A tier.
It's just the nature of card games. It just happens.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Now, if you really want to make Max upset, though, just straight up and make him grown man cry, I'll just tell you where you put Shanks.
Stop it. Don't do this.
I'll just
I left him out for a reason.
Right there. No, it's actually right there.
No, it's honestly not.
No, right here.
It's below Uta. It's the worst.
It's not. I don't think
he deserves his own fucking tier.
No, Shanks is terrible.
He has literally you're playing a vanilla leader if you play Shanks. It's the most tragic thing in the world.
Yeah. It's whatever.
Tier? No, unfortunately,
Shanks
we
tier.
Go Shanks all the way down to Z tier.
Yeah, Shanks is bad. But I mean, it doesn't. He is technically part of the set 1 meta eventually, just not released. So, just in case you were wondering, Shanks leader is just below everything else. In case you were curious.
Shanks leader is never part of the set 1. Oh, I see what you're saying. I misunderstood.
Yeah, it's later down. It's the next trial deck that comes out before set 2 comes out, so it's still part
Would
of
you
the
guys
set
say the
1
Kid and
mirror.
Purple Kaido are pretty evenly matched, or is the gap pretty big? No, they're extremely evenly matched. I think.
Yeah.
I think that their Kid and Purple Kaido are like the most evenly matched thing in the world.
Yeah, they're very player reliant in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I guess there's a lot of luck in it too, but they are very player.
I think there's minimal luck. I think it's a lot of skill. There is luck. It's
Yeah,
not
100%.
completely gone. But
yeah,
it's like 85% luck, 15% skill.
So
whoa, I said that way backwards. It's 85% skill, 15% luck.
You're a dumbass.
I am.
So I feel like Japan meta is so weird because they do things like 4.
They did it first.
They don't.
Everyone, even us, we were running 4 9-drop Kaido and like 1 or 2 board wipe. There was a thing.
Yep.
It took some time to get established and developed.
Yeah.
And
it happens.
It's not the worst time. Solid list. I agree with these placements. Thank you, Pirate King Codex.
I appreciate
greatly appreciate it. And can you throw? I think you should throw up a "Be Back Soon" screen, and then when we're back, we're gonna go over your law list.
Yeah. All right. So we'll be back. I'm gonna get a drink, and I'll be back in like a minute or two. And then we'll jump into our spicy list that we are thinking about for set 1 right now. And we will see you very, very soon. Be right back. Thank you. I love you all for staying. Stay, please.
Real quick, David Hartley. Do I still rate Gildosaur and Blurple Kaido?
Yeah. Oh wait. Here. I actually just.
Yeah, you muted me out of the thing.
I muted Max. I just realized. Okay,
I said
wait.
I love Gildosaur and Blurple Kaido.
Yeah. Okay. Blurple Kaido, Gildosaur. That's all you need to know. That's all I know. Okay.
Yes.
Stay. We'll be back very soon. I appreciate you all. I love you all. Please stay. Okay, I can't speak for Max, but I'm back. And I know you guys are just all here for me and not for Max. You just tell him that.
I was back before you, bitch.
Damn it! Damn it!
I was up in chat and I watched you sit down.
Damn it!
Good try, though.
Damn it! Okay, don't tell him what I said.
I heard you.
No, don't tell him.
When we're in the live screen, I can hear you. Or the starting soon, or the be right back.
Yeah, because you can hear me. I know.
You just can't hear me.
I know. I'm aware. It's funny. All right, so we're back. Just get a couple of drinks and we're just chilling. And I'm going to show you what I'm thinking about law. Do you guys want to see the reasoning like I chose it? You know, I'm gonna show you this. I'm gonna show you what I'm currently trying out and have had some moderate success. I call it Idea 1 because it's a really good idea. And it's the first version of it. So this is my current law list, and I'm really liking it. I'm really enjoying this law list. It's for Tama. Here, let me actually press this button. There we go. So for Otama, like it is a lot of one drops. The idea of this deck is to play as many one drops as you can, sorta early. Like your best turn 2 plays is turn 1 play a one drop, and then turn 2 play Robin or Kiku, and then you play your next one drops into yourself. That's actually that's better than actually just spamming one drops. However, the deck can also just spam one drops. It has both those options, and sometimes it is better to not play your Robin or your Kiku because if you're playing against like Kaido, let's say, if they went first, then you don't do that because then they play King on the following turn. You look like a jack, you look stupid. So. Yeah, I will start with leader ability. Thank you, Ramirez. Let's talk about the Trafficker Law leader, my favorite leader and favorite deck in the game. What it is activate main once per turn. You may pay 2. If you control 5 characters, return 1 character to the owner hand, then play 1 cost 5 or lower character with a different color as a return character from your hand. So if you have a full board of cards, you are, say you have a green card on board, you pay 2, you replace that into your hand, you can play any 5 cost or less red card from your hand in shambles, like you're switching. That's what Law does. It's pretty much based around playing as many full board as fast as you can, realistically, or as efficiently as you can, and then getting really strong cards on the field through your leader effect, like Trafficker Law is the best one. But you also have Luffy, and one of my favorites is Basil Hawkins. Tama, again, I'll go back and talk about it for a second because I didn't talk about her effect. Is on play, you give something -2. She's a 2k counter. She's a 1-drop, and she's Wano Country. And why it's so important that she's Wano Country is Kozuki Momonosuke. Momonosuke is the big difference. If you're a lot of Law lists, most of them don't run it. That's personally something I really, really like. Because 1, he's a 1-drop, 2, he's a searcher, and you can search for your Otamas. You can search for your 2Ks, you can search for Okikus, and you can search for 2 Izo. So, I really, really like Momonosuke. He's really making this list come together. I had a previous versions. I know people were talking about my Patreon list, and if you saw that, I'm sorry, not seeing a duck here. Can we skip the next idea where the actual god lists start for me? God damn it. But Momonosuke, again, also, he's pretty much exactly like Bonnie. You pay 1, tap him, and but you're looking for a Wano Country instead of a Supernova. And if you saw my old Patreon list, this deck is kind of similar to that idea, where it has a ton of 1-drops, including the Wano engine, in that mix, including Momo. But it is a very different list. Next is 4 1-drop Tony Chopper blocker. It is a straw hat. It's a blocker. Blockers are so important in this list.
It's a 1-drop.
It's a 1-drop. Like it does everything. And it's really important that it's a red 1-drop because you want to be able to bounce red cards to your hand and play Law and Basil. So it's actually really important.
You bounce into green way more than you bounce into red.
What'd you say?
I said you bounce into green way
into
more
yes, you bounce way more into green than you ever do red. There's only 1 red target really. It's Luffy, and if you're desperate, you can do Robin, and like it's fine. But you 9 times out of 10 wanted to do Law or Hawkins. Have I done it to Luffy? Absolutely, of course, but it is very far in between. This is the only thing I'm kind of still messing around with. It's not like this is why the list isn't perfect yet. Is that it's 3 beige. 3 beige is you're seeing a lot of lists now in like very late OPO1 list in Japan. We're running only 3 beige. And I'm referring to a lot of the Cavity Den lists run only 3 beige, which this deck is loosely based off of too. He's not even playing 1 duck. I know.
I was reading the chat, and
I
then
know.
they're shitting on you for not playing ducks. And
I
I'm
know.
like, what good chat?
I know.
Good chat.
I know. I should be playing duck. I used to play ducks. I'm sorry. If you don't have Nami down, Chopper will be your target most times. Yes, obviously, if you're going, honestly, the best target for playing them is Nami. It's the best one. But also, I really like bouncing Tama. I really like bouncing Brook more than even bouncing Chopper. So, personally, I actually think Tama's a better bounce than Chopper, but that's just me. Especially because you can play the Tama again and just keep spamming it over and over again. But you're only running 3. It's just more of a space issue, and the deck doesn't necessarily need 4. You also, because he has no counter stat, he does kind of get a little bit dead. And Bonnie is kind of taking a backseat in searching. Like, she is obviously one of the most important searcher cards in this deck and in the game. But
Oh yeah.
Momo actually kind of low-key does more better search targets if you already have your top end in hand. So it is, and Nami as well. For that control, you have the Radical Beam, and you can get Luffy. So Bonnie is important, and I also kind of like, speaking about Bonnie, you pay 1, rest her, and look at top 5 for Supernova. Most people know what it does. But she, like, in this list specifically, she takes slightly less of a backseat. She's still consistent, you still use her, but a lot of people will swing into your Bonnies thinking it's the most important searcher, and it's actually kind of funny because it's like, I don't necessarily care if it goes away.
So, Ant Chat wants to know why you don't run any Zoro.
I'll get to that. I will get to that because that is a really, really important point and really, really good question. And it's something that I personally that I do that most people, if not like anyone, really does. And I will explain, but we have to get to there. We'll get there. So for 1-drop Nami, you look at top 5 of your deck, searching for a Straw Hat crew that isn't Nami. That's why you don't run Starter Nami. Starter Nami's bad. Don't play her. She's like one of the best cards in the deck. You can search for your Brooks, you can search for your Choppers, you can search for your Luffy, you can search for Radical Beams, you can search for Pistol, you can search for Robin. It's a phenomenal card. If you can spam it as much as you can, it's great. Same thing with Bonnie and Momo. If you can spam them as much as you can, that's the way you win with Law. It's get that incremental value as you're developing a board and you're spamming leader effect every single turn, and you're just becoming God of the New World. Like, it's just phenomenal. And I will now tell you my low-key favorite card in this deck is Cat Viper. My low-key favorite card. High key. Yeah, he's right. So the reason why the deck is different from Patreon 1, you do play ducks there. Yeah, this is my newest version.
This is our current version.
This is the current version that I'm still messing with because it combines my Patreon version and the Cavity Den version, and it has best of both of those things. I'm starting to play Kid, Just Know, and with Bonnie and Momo, I feel like you use Bonnie when you're searching to be defensive, and Momo when you're searching for a play, and important piece that to card turntable like Nekomushi. Yeah, you're not entirely wrong. Viper is nuts in Law set 1, honestly. I'm also not a huge fan of 8-drop Kid in Law, but this list is a lot more control-y than my old Law list. Haven't really made a Law list in a while, so I'm not sure what the meta is. So, yeah, a lot of Law lists are now control-oriented in the ending part of set 1. All the Captain Den lists, I appreciate that those lists are really important. If you guys actually find his name's Swing Sweet, I think he was the top 2, but a bunch of the players I think it was Shrimp King, Team King Shrimp, something like that. If you find them on Twitter, they're a great team, and they made those lists, and they're great with slight variations to each of them. But again, Viper, to speak to this, is searchable off of your Momo, and Viper also has the ability to tap down your opponent's blockers, but more importantly, your opponent's Nico Robins. This is one of your best cards in the deck because it's a controlled card. With this card, you can also swing into your opponent's Momos or your opponent's or Bonnies or whatever you need to swing into, and even perhaps go for game because of this card. This card is, in fact, one of the best cards in Law, and I think, honestly, the big reason why I even switched my deck to be oriented like this in the first place is because I love Viper so much. Viper is stupid. Brook, I run 3 of it. This is actually low-key interchangeable with Beige. Not the card, but like I know you...
As a one-of.
As a one-of.
Cut one Brook.
Yeah, so you can cut one Brook and make this Beige 4. And that's what I'm still debating. But I personally like 2K counters more because in other Cavity Dead lists, all that stuff, most lists you'll see runs 3 Radical Beam. I run only 2. And that's just because it's consistency and stuff like that. And to make up for that lack of beam, I like the extra Brook. You also could, in theory, cut 1 Brook for another beam. But I also hate seeing beam like crazy. Like, you don't need that many. Like, Brook does the job, and Brook's effect, if you don't know, is when you play him, you can give a leader or a character 2 Rested Dawn. So you play him for 2, and you take those 2 Rested Dawn and put them somewhere. And that's just phenomenal. You can put it on your Okikus, and your Robins, and your Hawkins, and your Luffys, and your Kid, which also, we'll talk about one of my favorite combos soon, but Brook is just really, really good. It seems like a natural progression once people start building their decks to beat Flood, Fair. Is this more like a toolbox kind of deal? It looks like it. I'm kind of into it.
Yeah, it is far more toolboxy.
It really a masterpiece in the green's tool. Yes, this is a tool. This is meant to be toolbox. This is a toolbox green or like red green law list. Very, very toolbox. So then this card is 2 EZO, 2K counter. It's on play. Rest of your opponent's characters will cost 4 less. It's searchable off Momo. It's 2K counter. It's amazing. It has the same thing as Viper, but you can tap other cards. I love this card. I like it as a 2-of more than... Like, you could, theory, just make this Viper a 4 and then EZO a 1. But then it's also a 2K counter, and I kind of love it for that. So I think consistently EZO at 2 and Viper at 3 is better than 4 Viper and EZO at 1. But you could technically do that. I just think you shouldn't. Because at that point, don't even bother running the EZO. Like, I don't care. But EZO just feels that niche. It adds another 2K counter into the deck. I love this card. Nico Robin is debatably one of the most important cards in not only Red Green Law, but in the game. But more importantly, like in Red Green Law and in this list, Robin is so important. It's how you beat Mirror. It's how you beat Zoro. It's how you beat Kid. It's how you beat I mean, it's not the reason you're gonna beat Kid, but man, does it help. It is just a phenomenal card. It is a Dawn ×1 when attacking, 3 cost 4K with a 1K counter. When attacked, you can KO the character with cost 3 or less. I'm surprised you guys go down to 2 tokens. You always talked it up. It's just space. I promise you, Skirian. It's just space.
It's a hidden thing I run for.
Yeah, like it's just a space thing.
I'm in love with Hawkins.
Hawkins
Actually,
is
I don't think
phenomenal.
I'm running for right now, but Hawkins is huge.
Hawkins is huge. It's just there's no space. Robin is important. It gets searchable off of Nami. It's your best turn 2 play almost ever. It's phenomenal. Playing Zoro, I just instant mulligan for Robin. She's crazy against Law. You comfy with 7 to 5 drop targets. Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I almost always said it. I never... This is very still
They're all
tested.
searchable.
They're all searchable. This list doesn't care. Also, if you don't hit your targets, it honestly isn't the end of the world. The deck does not care. It's so control based with your Vipers and Robins and Okikus and stuff like that not hitting your 5 drops is in fact super rare, but it won't kill you. You won't lose because of it. 9 times out of 10. That's not the reason you lose. Now this is the reason why I don't run Zoro. Because if you see other lists, they run 2 Zoro in their Captain Den list. In most lists, Zoro is theoretically, on paper, the better card than Okiku in Law list. Because Zoro, if you guys don't know, I'll just show you Zoro really quick, is a rush card. Hold on. Full screen. This Zoro right here. Whoops, I didn't mean to add it. Right click. This Zoro, if 3 costs on play or whatever, it just gains rush. 3 costs, rush, no counter stat. But it's a supernova and straw hat, so it is searchable off of Nami and Bonnie. So saying that, do I think Zoro is one of the best cards in Law? Absolutely. You should definitely try running it in your list. And now let me tell you why I don't run it. The reason why I don't like Zoro is because the reason why I don't like it is when you play Zoro and you swing at them immediately, that gives your opponent an immediate target to swing into. And then you have to defend it or it goes away, you have to put your board back. That's a pain in the butt. I don't like that. Yes, it is theoretically searchable. It's really, really good. You can play it after Law. You can do some really disgusting combos. But also, Okiku is straight bonkers. Again, if you don't know what Okiku does, when it's a 3-cost 5k, Dawn times 1 when attacking, you can rest a 5-cost or less card. This card is so stupid. This can literally win you the game just for existing. Your opponent has to answer it 9 times out of 10. It's searchable off Momo. This card is stupid. And it's on board. It's honestly just as good as your turn 2 Robin play, if not better in some certain situations. The only reason it's not a 4 of is that there's no space. There's 0 space in this list.
Yeah.
It's literally the only reason. For Law, this is the best card in the deck. Oopsies. It's a 4 of. It's easily the best card in the deck. There's no denying it. If you play Law, doing this once, if you feel like God himself. I run 1 starter Law in mine. Most people do, and it's totally fine. And I also love that
We
card.
used to run it. We cut it.
There's a reason why I cut it. It's just because there's no space where I'd rather play Basil Hawkins. That's
The
it.
reason is because we were playtesting over and over again, and every game.
Oh yeah, and it didn't do
He
it.
was like, I see this card and I never use it. And I was like, that's because it's bad. Stop running it. And
Yeah, it's not great.
it took a while, but we're there.
Samuel, hear me out, talks. Zoro's too many Dawns also feels off in the control toolbox list. Yeah, the thing about this list, Tetra, is that this Law list is meant for control. This is all a control list. It's very off the beaten path, and there's a reason for it too. Like it's just realistically, I've been just testing it. I've seen a lot of success with this list. I like it a lot. But of course, it's just different. It's a very different list than you're probably used to, which is fine. Different is totally fine. It's a very control list. Again, let me talk about Law really quickly. You want to spam this. This is 9 times out of 10 the card you want to use playing off your leader's effect. You want to take a red card, bouncing it to your hand, playing this card, bounce another card. It doesn't really matter. So like you can play your Momo, your Bonnie, bounce the Nami, play the Law, bounce the Bonnie, and then you're playing Nico Robin or Okiku. You can play your Viper, tap down something. There's so many combos with just Law itself. This card's stupid. It needs to be a 4 of. It's a blocker. And another thing that I personally do when I'm playing Law is if you find the opportunity to attack with this Law, you immediately take it. Always swing with this if you can. Granted, there are matchups like where it's actually a little bit less safe to do it. Specifically, Kaido and Kid. It gets a little bit wonky because you like taking life a little bit early, and that gets counterintuitive, and it gets a little wonky, and it's hard to remove Law. Also, it's a 5 cost, whereas 4 cost cards are just super easy to get rid of in this format. Law is just so good. If you can swing with him, you literally put 1 Dawn on him, he's 7k, and then he's just putting so much pressure in. It's so good. That's why I like starter at 1. Every once in a while, it's a 2 Dawn dual attack on a big Zoro Law. Starter Law can function like a cheap leader kid effect. I like it. I also think control is probably the way for Law. If you want to be aggressive, just play Zoro. Green really shines when you focus on it, and I feel like red is more splashable. On a side note, how many Laws should you run in a kid deck? It really depends. Honestly, Max plays 1, and I respect it. I love Max's list. At first, I saw it, and I hated it. I tried it, I hated it, and then he explained to me, and I watched him play. I'm just like, oh, no, you got me.
This man, okay. That's a very abridged version of the story of this man putting me through the fucking works. This man out here, we're hanging out at like 12:30 a.m. and I'm explaining my kid list. He's like, dude, I just don't get it, and we're exhausted. And I'm like telling him, I'm like, okay, read this Patreon article about it. And he read it. He's like, I just don't see it. And he's like, prove me wrong right now. Let's go downstairs. Beat a Kaido list.
That was
like,
so funny.
You think I'm going to find a Kaido list at 12:30 in a set 1 format? And so we go downstairs, and he's like, all right, start hosting the game. And I did. And he starts counting backwards from 10, and a Kaido list joins at 7 without me even specifying Kaido.
Yeah. It
And
took
wasn't
3
even
seconds.
Set 1. He ends up running Hell's Judgment, and I still clown on this kid. Anyway.
It was ridiculous. I know Max, it should be a little bit quieter. There's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah, it's the nature of the fact that I'm in collab cam.
It's collab cam. It's just the way it is. I'd argue if you can add rush cards to your deck, you should. You're not wrong. My only thing with Zoro specifically is Zoro, when you swing with him, is just super annoying to have to defend it because they're going to attack into it a million times. Yeah, that acts as a pseudo blocker. Yeah, that's really great. But why would I do that when I can just play a Kiku and tap their cards down for the rest of the game? Like, that's so stupid. If you want to cut...
I also kind of don't agree with the sentiment. Just because you can add rush cards to your deck doesn't mean you should. And I'll prove it right now. When was the last time you saw a purple Kaido list that ran 6 drop?
6 drop queen!
Huh?
Not wrong.
How many times? Skyrian? Are they
aren't
going
they
to attack
attack
Okiku
Tiku
as well? Okiku gives you way more bang for your buck. A good rush cards. All right, fair, Skyrian. Because all that Zoro is a rush, and that's not that important for the deck. The deck is trying to outgrind advantage. Okiku actually nets you advantage. Zoro just brings you speed. That's
and another thing too is Okiku is what's really really funny 9 times out of 10 is Okiku, yes, they will swing into it, but Zoro, you swing into it on the turn you play it. So they're immediately swinging into it. Okiku has an entire turn. They have to either answer it or face the wrath of Okiku, and then you're controlling the game.
Unfortunately, I saw that queen yesterday, Max. Yes, my eyes were bleeding. I'm sorry.
That's funny. When clearing board, the law of replying Zoro is card advantage. You're not wrong. Zoro is sweet. Don't get it twisted. I love Zoro. It's just that this isn't what the deck is supposed to do. It's counterintuitive to how this deck is played. Also,
Okiku is better at clearing board than Zoro as well.
Zoro is. Don't get twisted. If you want to play Zoro, cut to Okiku for Zoro. That is the only slot in this list you'll find for it.
True.
But 100% do it. Go for it. It's honestly a preference, in my opinion. But I just personally also love being able to search it off Momos. Like, yes, you can search off Bonnie and Nami, but Okiku just wins me games automatically. Also, specifically too, is that I'm running these two Battle Hawkins, which I'll get to. But let me get to Luffy first. Luffy is a 5-drop rush. If it has dawn times 2, you can attack and your opponent can't activate blocker. This card is really, really sweet. It's just can win you games and you'll hit it even just a one-off. This card will destroy the game. And your opponent, you can play it the turn before you go for game, and your opponent has to answer it or lose. Oh yeah, and just to go back to Okiku,
I agree. It is very heavily about playstyle.
It's super about playstyle. Another thing about Kiku too is since it has a turn where they can't swing into it and they have to answer it, like you say you're playing as red, they will waste their jet pistol on it, which means they won't pistol
your
Hawkins or Law. Yeah, and that's funny as hell. Baiting a pistol is hilarious. But now let me talk to when it comes down to playstyle preference, I don't think either is strictly better. She uses that 14k rush attacker, no blockers. What?
Yeah, he was talking about bouncing Luffy for 2, and then it's a 14k rush attack. And Skyrian, you're right. Okiku is way better into Zoro, which is arguably Law's hardest matchup.
Yep, this version has a really decent Zoro matchup. Where my original version on the Patreon article is a way worse Zoro matchup. It is almost unplayable into it. This list actually, you have a decent chance of beating Zoro. Is it your hardest matchup? Probably that or Kaido, but it is really still it's still way better than the other lists into it. And that's another reason why I like this list a lot. Basil Hawkins is 5 costs. If you down times 1 swing into a character, you set this card to active. This is the other really good target besides Law. Hawkins provides an alternative attacker. The reason why my Hawkins went from 4 to like 2 is it went from 4 to 3, and then it was like, okay, I need to make more space for other stuff like 8-drop Kid. Okay, 4 to 2. And the thing is, Hawkins is it sits in your hand dead as a dead card for a really long time because you really want to spam Law 9 times out of 10. So you're gonna do Hawkins, obviously, and you also want to prioritize getting Hawkins on board against certain matchups, namely mirror match, red matchup. It's really, really broken into. Green is pretty decent because Basil Hawkins is also another answer to your opponent's 8-drop Kid. If they have 8-drop Kid on board and you have Basil Hawkins on board, you have a really good chance of just murdering it. Like, you can really just go, oh yeah, I have Basil Hawkins on board, I play an Otama, reduce your power of your Kid, I'm swinging into it twice, good luck. You're dead.
Pixco, for tips against Zoro with this list, some easy ones that come to mind are kill Robins with Cat Vipers and Ezo.
Yep.
Play Hawkins as soon as possible. And abuse the fact that you're a deck that can run 8-drop Kid. That's why we run 8-drop.
Yep. So I'll speak to Max. Did you just talk just now?
My microphone became unplugged.
Oh, okay.
I actually yanked on the cord.
Oh, got it. So,
did my whole spiel get heard?
Okay. So yeah, 8-drop Kid. The reason why I really like this list, I thought it was broken. No one played it, and I was like, damn, it's really that bad. Stop playing.
Yeah, Hawkins is busted.
Hawkins is really broken.
And I never stopped playing it. We cut it to 2 when at first because we were like, oh, nobody's playing this. It must not be great, but we're gonna keep running it. And then it went right back up to 4, and we were like, yes.
Yeah, no, Hawkins is nuts. But
Card
A
is
Drop Kid
silly.
is again. This took inspiration from the Cavity Den list that topped it from all of them. And I started running. I started testing my list, my Patreon list, and their Cavity Den list because I made that my Patreon list before Cavity Den came out. I'm pretty sure.
Mhm.
And it's camera audio. I think. Yeah, Max's audio is gonna be off for a little while. Sorry. Until he fixes it.
Oh, it's not fixed now.
No, we can hear you. It's just you. I think there's a delay to what when you're saying things.
There's a delay.
In mine, it looks like that, but you also sound different. Like the the volume quality is complete trash. But
Let me try unplugging.
H-Drop,
Keep
I was
going,
testing
sorry.
both versions, and I love H-Drop Kid. It makes your Kid matchup way better. It makes your Zoro matchup way better. It makes your Mirror match way better. This card is just phenomenal. You can just win the game off of it. It does get sometimes a little bit dead. Like it sometimes becomes a card that's like dead in your hand until you really need it. But I still stand by it. I do sometimes like my another version of this list, which I'll show you guys in a second. It isn't that much different. Doesn't run it. I think it's the only difference is that it doesn't run Kid and then increases the Basel 3 and Okiku to 3. And I think that's the only difference. And I haven't tested that yet because Kid sometimes just gets dead in your hand, and it's like how much do you need it into the matchups? Honestly, it's not about Kid or Kaido or anything like that. It's mostly just because it makes your Zoro matchup 8 times better. And that's it. That is the only reason. Now, this is the card that I really, really fell in love with. Now we don't hear you at all, Max. Yeah. Sounded like on stream, you sound like a shitty camera mic. That's a bunch of echo. You sound trapped like a ransom. Yeah. The audio did sound not great. But regardless, Radical Beam. One of my favorite cards in Law. Ooh, he's gone. Very underrated. Ooh, sorry. You guys are probably getting blasted by that music now. Hold on. He disappeared. Let me put him back on. All right, Max, say something. Max, I cannot hear you. Here's what we can do. Go on Discord. I'll call you. I'll call you in Discord, and then they will hear you through that. Someone find Vegapunk to find these technical difficulties. All right, Max, say something. Oh, no. Nope, that didn't work. Can't hear you. All right, well, you figure that out. Guess we need Vegapunk. So yeah, Radical Beam. If you're 2 or less life, if you pay for 1, you're essentially a Blast Breath, but no Dom minus. You get +4. So what's really cool is when you have Kid on board and you have at least 1 Radical Beam, and you can make your Kid a 12k. And that's stupid. That is pure stupidity. I don't run it at 3 because it gets a little bit clunky. That's another reason I don't like the 5-drop Law, is that gets clunky, and if you don't have another Supernova or Heart Pirate to do something with, it's essentially useless, and that kept happening. And another reason why I also don't love... I do love Roundtable. It's a one-off. It's phenomenal, but there's no space, and 2, it's a little bit clunky. Like, a little bit. And then we have 2 Jet Pistol. Jet Pistol, Max is Usopp audio, Anthony is on Frankie audio. So Jet Pistol is one of the best cards in red. Honestly, if you really want, you could cut a Brook for a 3rd pistol. Pistol is really amazing because if you're playing against Kid, you can use the Tama and then use the pistol combo. That combo is great. It's broken. You prioritize killing their Basil Hawkins with it. All that good stuff. But there really isn't that much space to put in more. 2, I see it enough. It's searchable off Nami and Bonnie. It's a great card. I don't think you need it more than 2. There's gonna be times where you're like, I wish I had another one right now. It happens, but it doesn't happen anywhere near enough. Like, it's like 1 out of 20 games that happens. I always see it, and I'm like, I'm glad I have it now, and whatever. And you just have to be mindful of H-Drop Kid. You have to be mindful that's a card that's going to come up. And if you know that and you save those for H-Drop Kid against that certain matchup into Law and Kid, you're fine. You'll be fine. In Control Law, you should be fine anyways. Yes, exactly. 2 feels just right. I'm on 2 JP2. Yeah, Jet Pistol. You have other tools to remove. Exactly. Another thing is if you use your pistols on Basil Hawkins, which you 100% should do, It's okay if against 8 drop kid because you have 2 Basso Hawkins, you have 2 Okiku, you have Otama. Like this deck is meant to answer all of those things. You just have to know when to play him down and hit those answers. This deck is a toolbox. Um, the only real changes that you could make to this, in my opinion, it will make it a completely different deck, is to put in the Zoros if you want. It is fine if you do that. I personally just love Okiku 8 times more. Zoro is 100% sound. Nothing wrong with playing it. I just don't like it that much. I Jet Pistol Queen Hawkins on side. Yeah, that's fine. Another thing is if you don't, you could not just pistol it because if you're playing Okiku, because you can also tap down queens, and that's funny. I Pistol Guru sent the message. I can't. So I definitely recommend you should try this version of Law. Again, it takes my previous Law list. I'll show you guys that one really quick. My very old Law list. Not old. It's my baby. I love that deck. Here, my decks. I'm gonna show you just really quickly. If you're on Patreon, this is the list. And I have a detailed explanation for each card and everything in writing. But this is a very decently old list. I still swear up and down this list. This list, it's just running 3 Okiku, 3 Hawkins. I think it used to be 4-4, but I cut it down to run the Vipers. Am I the bad guy? And you have 2 Kamachio. This list is very much oriented to getting turn 3 Law effect, like every game, because you're running like 26 1-drops, 24 1-drops, something like that. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 26 1-drops. And this is like my original idea that I had, where it's like just play all the 1-drops and do all your stuff. And then I think it does come up. You do see it top. Something around like something like this. And it took this and combined it with the Captain Den version, and now you have that. So if you don't test out this version, you should definitely test out the other version. I have not a crazy amount of testing with my new version, but I almost never lose with it. Like, I do test with it, obviously, and I still swear it up and down that it's a really great deck. But I need to test with it more, obviously, and there's still some kinks, obviously, but that is what I'm messing with. This is also another version where I'm running the 2 Radical Beam, and that is like the only difference. And you're running 4 Viper instead of the 3. And that's the only difference. I haven't tested this at all yet, but I like the idea. That's why it's idea 2. But this is the one I really, really, really like. It has a ton of awesome stuff. Your toolbox deck. Oh, your entire comp's not picking up the mic. Okay, I see. That's big sad. But I swear up and down this list, it's a phenomenal list. I really, really enjoy it. I almost never really lose with it against it. It's meant to beat whatever your opponent's doing and have it the exact answer to what they're doing almost always. I played against Kid. I've had 2 Bassos on board. It happened. I've had 1 Basso on board and win me the game because of that. I've had Okiku on board and win me because it's just really good. Try it out. You won't regret it. And it does emojis for the rest of the stream. It is definitely fair to think this is wonky. It's very off the beaten path. That's totally fine. Try it. Just try it. It's great. All right, Max. I know. Yeah, I'm keeping everyone too long. Do you want to do your deck list even though you can't talk? I can explain it for you. Like, what do you want me to do? He's just speaking emojis. I can't understand that. Also, I don't even think I don't have your list on standby. Pretty sure I don't. But Max, do you want to show the stream your list? You know what's wonky? Roundtable, Whitey Bay, and Garp. They're pretty wonky. Here are the kid lists. He can try Discord again if he needs to change the settings on Discord stuff. Who's excited for set? I'm so excited for the set release. I've been waiting for months for this. I'm really, really, really excited. I'm really happy about it. Solid list. I agree with these play positions. Thank you, Pirate King Codex. I appreciate you. I really, really, really like this list. I will swear it up and down that this list that it's good. Christmas early. I've been honestly. I've been so excited to play this list. I've been dying to play it for like the dawn of time, or just playing set 1, and I'm so happy that it's finally coming. This is what you're going to be on first big tournament, Ant? What this is what you were. What do you mean? Like if I'm playing a tournament, I'm playing this. This is what 100% I'd play this. Am I gonna be playing a lot of tournaments? No, not really. Unfortunately, because I either commentate them or can't go to them or I whatever. What would you say? Okay, Max said yes. What would you say? The weakness of this list, if any. I'm looking. I will explain. I'm looking for mono Luffy early set one. Hopefully, gonna build law at some point. I enjoy toolbox decks, so this speaks to me. Yeah, no, toolbox is phenomenal. So I will speak to what some of the weaknesses are. And I'll speak first to the Cavdine Den version, the Cavdine Den list. The reason why I'm not super in love with that list, and it's not my favorite list of all time. It's almost my favorite list. It's so great. It is phenomenal. The only reason why I don't play that version over this is because it whiffs. Like it dead draws sometimes. You'll have games where you just won't draw. If you've ever played the Cavdine Den version, if you're you can not draw slightly well and not activate your effect ever because of it, and you just lose like right there, and that's so annoying. This list is meant to stop that from happening. It has a really great early game to end game flow, and it's always from start to finish good. Weaknesses: 10 drop is still a problem. If you want to play against Kaido and not deal with the problems, play the Patreon version. The Patreon version is so good against Kaido because it builds yeah, same here. I have answers, kind of a link to that list. I haven't seen it. What, the Cavdine Den? If you go to the Facebook page, it's really, if you look up Cavdine Den, just scroll down, it's there. I can in a minute if you want. It's really not that much different than this. I mean, it is, but am I garp? There's definitely weaknesses. When I was playing Cavdine Den, I had a big problem with I would get 10 dropped, and then I would have a hard time rebuilding my board state, and then I'd lose because of it because I wouldn't have a blocker in hand. This does have that problem. It's just not as anywhere near as bad as the Remember, Max, are you saying something? Why am I hearing noises from? Okay. Anyways, Zoro is still a pain in the ass. Zoro does suck. Could you spell that? Because I don't really hear what you're saying. Spell what? Oh, Max. Shock to Max. Zoro and Kaido are going to be your hardest matchups. Zoro is just so fast and aggressive that if you're slow enough and your hand's not that good, you just lose. It happens. And again, 10 drop the Kaido. And 7 drop the Kaido. If you're playing against Kaido, what matters more, even more than 10 drop, is if they play enough 7 drops. If they go 6 drop king, 7 drop king, 6 drop king, 7 drop king, and you're just doing that over and over again, you just automatically lose and there's nothing you can do. It sucks. You saying Cavdine Den or whatever the name of the law list is? It's Cavdine Den. Here, I'll show you. Here, Facebook. And big again. It's also on. If you can, it's a Singapore regional. It's a Singapore big tournament from Bandai. So if you go to Cavdine Den, if you look up Cavdine Den games top shop, it's a Singapore. It's a place in Singapore. I'm pretty sure. So if you go down here, actually you click on their page and then you scroll down. You'll find their list of the tournament that topped. They posted it this is a while ago. But this is like one of the last OPO1 tournaments in Asia, so that's why it matters. Because it's technically the latest meta. So here it's right here. So this is the first place list, the kid list, and then here is the list I'm talking about. This is the Cavdine Den list. They got Thank you. I couldn't tell what you were saying. Cavdine Den. It was the name of the shop. Sorry. But this is their list. It's a phenomenal list. That's why you guys, you see a lot of players play the 5 drop law. You see a lot of players doing the radical beam. You see a lot of players do all of these things. They kind of trend set it. He's not the only one who did it. This guy, he did something a little bit different. This Cavdine Den list, run 3 of the 5 drops and 3 Luffy. It's very unique. I don't like it that much, but it's sweet. But then you see the other list, this is almost a carbon copy, but in the Round Table Woo. Yeah, no, Round Table 1's phenomenal. Definitely try out the Cavdine Den list. They're all so good. I haven't tested them for a super long time. I just don't like playing against Kaido against it. This one runs the 2-drop killer. That's the big difference here. There are slight variations of the same thing. Nope. I think there's one more. Yeah, here's another one. the top, it runs 3 Zoro instead of the 2, runs 4 Brook. Like, it's very similar to whatever. It runs a 2 Killer. It only runs 2 Viper, which I think is a mistake, but that's whatever. And that should be all of them, I think. I don't know. But that's the Captain Den list I keep referring to, and I consider them one of the most important lists of all time. Like, all of them are so important because they were the last Asia tournaments, essentially. And Roundtable is phenomenal. Like, again, if you definitely 100 million % test out the Captain Den list because they're all really, really good, and it'll make you better at this list. To try out every version of Law. It's the only way to decide to figure out what you like is to try out every single one. Unfortunately. So yeah, you just have to really know how to react against people's decks. Is the way you play this list, and that's kind of a weakness in its own. It's a very big learning curve. It's really hard to play. Is Roundtable another Facebook page? I love Roundtable. It's so tacky. It's a card. So Roundtable, a card in set 1. I'll show you Roundtable. Roundtable is a card that I really, really like, and everyone runs it as a 1-of in Captain Den lists, and most people run it as 1-of. It's a supernova, so you can search up Bonnie, but you can give something -10. So the idea is you can give like a Kaido -10, but more notably, an 8-drop Kid. You give it -10. Oh, you knew that? Yeah. You give like an 8-drop Kid -10, and you just swing into it a million times, and it dies immediately. And that's funny. This list doesn't need it just because you have so many answers to 8-drop Kid and other stuff like that, that it isn't that big a deal. But I really like Okiku. I think it's so sweet. I've been messing with this list for a while, and this is my new brainchild baby. So definitely try it, 100%. Just give it a whirl. If you don't like it, that's okay. It isn't for you. Every Law list isn't tailored to every person. Law list is only as good as you like it to be. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't the best way to play Law 100 million %. It's a different way to play Law. Like, I'm not saying it's... I mean, I personally think it's the best way to play Law, but if you find that you don't like it that way, absolutely change whatever you want. Come back to me, tell me you change. If you don't like, it's a great list. I just want to swing 8-10 drops with Otama. Box giveaway soon for all your loyal subscribers. Nice. Is 100 for a box a good deal? I think that's decent. I'm not sure. Otama fucking up 8-drop Kid, 9-10 drop Kaido is just so funny. 100%. 100 million %. Otama is the actually low-key best card in the deck. It's not my favorite, but it's like one of the best, if not best. It's, like, the ability to play it down and kill it, like reduce cards effects and then kill itself with Robin is also nuts. Like, if you see an opponent's Kiku, like, that's the thing with this list. If they have a Robin on board, you're gonna cry because they can play Okiku or Otama, reduce the Kiku, and then swing with Robin. Like, you have to kill Robin on site. You have no choice. That's another weakness. Robin sucks. I've never had a problem with Robin, though. I've always answered it because you play the Vipers and the Ezos. I've never had a problem. But it can be if you can't get rid of it. TC players 120. Some locals is 120. Favorite local is 100. At this moment, it's one of the best deals you can get. Cost will go down after pre-release. Yeah. After release. Bro, it's a 2K counter, reduces power, and swings into Kid. It's easy broken. Pride isn't awful though, so if you say it's safer to buy it now because of shortages. Yeah, so the thing about the Tama is that it reduces power to stuff. It's just broken. Like, pfft. Tama's nuts. Tama's absolutely a stupid, stupid card. Was Codex, were you saying on YouTube, was that in response to our, that was in response to our tier list, not this list. Now I'm thinking about it. Whoops. Oh well, I'll take the compliment even if you didn't mean it. Price isn't awful if you say it's safe to buy now because of shortages. I want to play a new game while watching for DigiNuts in February. Yeah, I don't blame you. This is the one. Yeah, honestly, I recommend this game to anybody. It's such a great game. It's the most well-balanced game I've ever seen. Why are you not running the 4-cost law? 5-cost law. The 5-cost law, it's not space. I don't like it because it's only situational to if you have another supernova, which if it doesn't, it comes dead in your hand. It doesn't do anything. Whereas the card I replace for is Hawkins, and Hawkins is nuts. Yeah, it doesn't have a counter stat, but who cares? The card's stupid. And I also don't run Zoro, so if I'm not running Zoro, I'm not gonna run 5-drop Law, and even then it's a 1-of. Like, every time what happens is when I'm playing that deck is it stays in my hand and doesn't do anything for like ever. Yeah, it can win you games, but it's fine. Like, it's not that it's bad. It's just one, I don't have the space, and two, I don't care enough for that card. It is good. Don't get it twisted. That card is not like nuts, but like it's just not for me. If you want to put it in, you can make your list 8 million times different, and you still will top with it because law's dumb. Is Bandai announcing any tournament structures or anything? Yes, locals, big events in February. So yeah, so Max, what do you want to do, man? Do you want to show your Zoro list and I'll talk about it, or do you want to? What do you want to do? Been sharing my screen this whole time. Have you really? That's so funny. Yep, there it is. Okay, fair enough. Okay. Do you want me to talk about while you present? I'll be your. Okay, whatever. So Zoro is Zora. Zoro is your leader. He's a obviously it's a red leader. 5 life, obviously phenomenal. And while you have 1 Dawn, all your characters get plus 1,000 power. It's really easy to make this deck grow out of control. It's really good. It has a very clear. It's a very different strategy. This list to other Zoro lists. It does enable your ducks to be 5k with only 1 Dawn investment. It means your Namis become 5k with like 2 Dawn investment. The entire deck is mostly based around getting to that 5k threshold with as little amount of investment as possible, while still having your heavy hitters hitting for a literal brick, even harder. Ducks. So that's why, if you guys notice, there are 4 Sunny in Max's list. Nice, Max. Sunny is searchable off of Nami, which makes it just one, if not the best, 1-drop Straw Hat, or best vanilla 1-drop 3k in the game, essentially, because it's searchable off of Nami. And it makes your Zoro leader, you can just keep swinging it with 5k over and over again. It's the same concept. If you guys have seen a lot of my videos or discussion about the 2-drop 4k attackers and character cards like that, Sunny does the same thing, but it costs 1 less investment. So you're you're putting 1 Dawn into it each turn, but because you're only playing 1 Dawn worth of something on the turn you play it, you have more things you can do on that very first turn, and that is what the concept of this deck is. You just span out your ducks, you just hit for 5, you just get down your hand size, get some aggression in, you can potentially hit for more. It's great. It's called a duck. How's Yasop felt? We'll get there. So, next card is Otama, because we don't need to talk about Nami, right? Because you guys know what it is. It's staple. Top 5, search for a Straw Hat. It's stupid. Tama is a 2k counter. It gives you the ability to play Tama in pistol, just like we mentioned in Law. It has the ability to reduce the power of stuff and kill things with Robin. You have all those kind of combos. Tama is just one of the best cards in the game. Best 2k counter ever. One of the best cards ever. Nami's a beater for me all the time. Don't be afraid to make it 5k. Yeah, Nami saves this. It's honestly like pseudo duck. It's like a duck. Nami's F tier, fucking broken. Next is Brook. It's a 2-drop. 2K. It's 2k. It's so good. You can give it the Dawn to your leader. You can give it to a duck. But then it's also a 3k body, just like your ducks. It's like another duck. It's just phenomenal. That's a good card. Best 2k counter in red that isn't top. Mostly 2k counter, but occasionally I play it if you need to. Yeah, 9 times out of 10 you won't play it, but if you do need it, it's phenomenal. Zoro is one of the key cards of almost any red list, mono red list, or even Law. Like, this card is searchable off Nami. The card's just phenomenal. It's a rush piece. You can, honestly, if you put 1 Dawn on your leader, it comes to 6k. But if you put 1 Dawn on this card, after you put 1 on Dawn on leader, it's a 7k, which is the magic number. This card is just phenomenal. And if it stays on board for long enough, it wins the game. Nico Robin, one of the best red cards ever, one of the best cards in the game. This card's stupid. It gets rid of blockers. It becomes a 5k off leader effect. It comes to 6k if you have 1 Dawn onto it, like you should. It kills your opponent's ducks. It kills your opponent's blockers. This card's just stupid. It beats the Law deck. It beats a lot of decks. It's just stupid. Card's nuts. Monkey D. Luffy. This is a really cool card. It's a 3-cost 3k, but it has another 2k counter. So again, and it's a Luffy, so searchable Straw Hat. off Nami, but it has the ability of Dawn times 2. It gets plus 2,000 power, so it becomes a 7k normally without leader effect. When you have 2 Dawn into it, it's a really heavy beater. It's also, if you want, you can play it and just have 1 Dawn to it, make it 5k off your leader effect. Granted, you don't do that. You want it for the 7k. It becomes an 8k with your leader effect. This card just puts in a lot of work if you need to play it, but 9 times out of 10, it's usually just a 2k counter. But it's great. It's better than every other 2k counter that isn't the other ones we mentioned. Also, because we're running so many 2k counters, we're running 11 2k counters in this deck. You're slightly more defensive. This card just really helps with that, and tempo and all that stuff. This card's just great. 2k counter time, use it to help get over H up Kid 1s, which is why I chose it. But essentially, it's pretty much a 2k. Yeah, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a 2k, but it's a better 2k than every other 2k. Uta is really, really good. It gets back your ducks, it gets back your Namis, it gets back your 2k counters, you get that much defense. It's really good against the mirror match, it helps you with tempo. The card is just phenomenal. Uta just does so much. Quack. This deck does just... Uta makes this deck a little bit more consistent. It makes you can survive those big turns. It's just phenomenal. You can get also rush Zoro back. You can become another swing with that. You can do a million things with Uta. It's a phenomenal card. So moving on, if the next Max you have any words to say about Uta, looking like he does. Uta grabs 2k or rushes Zoro basically every time. Yeah, you usually do. I personally like grabbing Nami off of them if they're in drop for some reason. Like if they killed it for some reason, you can get back and play it again. That's sweet. I've done that a lot when I play Zoro, but it normally is 2k counter or rush or Zoro. Uta into crew must be the right play. Nice. All right, so Luffy, 5-drop Luffy, obviously a staple in a Zoro deck 9 times out of 10. This card's awesome. If you do notice, we are running a reduced number comparatively to most Zoro decks that run 4. This runs only 2. It's less important to have this on board. Like, you will win off games because of it, obviously, all that good stuff. But it's kind of in the different direction what this deck is going to do. But obviously, at the end of the day, it's still a rush piece. It still hits for face for having 2 Dawn onto it. It's good. It's just a phenomenal card. Always use it for duck. Don't be a dum-dum. Nice. Okay, so Yasop. Yasop, this card is just so good. The reason why we play Yasop is because a while back, we have having help our buddy Lance make a Luffy deck, a Luffy deck. I don't know what wild for blah, blah, blah. I don't know if you're a bot, but thanks. I don't know. But anyways, Yasop. Another reason is because Yasop is a 6 cost, which cannot be tapped down with effects like Okiku, which I just talked about how broken Okiku is and how good Okiku is. He banned it. Yasop is just phenomenal into the kid matchup. It's mostly there for that, and it's done really well into it. Also, it can realistically it can't be killed by kings or anything. It can only be killed by Brachio bombers or 9-drop Kaido, and if they have to kill this card, you're just winning. It's also really hard to swing into it because it's AK. It sets up really well against 8-drop kid. This card just does it all. This card's phenomenal. Ben Beckman. This is also pretty much the same thing as Yasop, but 1 Dawn higher. If you're the turn 2 player, you get to play it, and if you have a 9k on board, it's virtually impossible to kill. You can't kill a Brachio, you bomber. You can't kill it off of 9-drop kid. The only physical way you can get rid of it is if you're playing against Doflamingo, or if you're playing against, or if you're playing the Doflamingo 7 costs, bounce back to your hand, or if they bound with it with Mihawk, which is whatever. But it saves a lot of the same purpose. It stays on board again. It's just card's just really good. Tempo, it's just this card's just phenomenal. It does a lot of things for you. He's an experienced duck. All I see is value. That's funny. Yeah, so Ben Beckman's pretty sweet. Max, any words on Ben Beckman? I know he's actually a newer addition, I believe. When I had more involvement in the deck, I think he added it more recently, so he can speak more to it than I could. Okay. Yosop and Black Meta are both for the kid matchup. Playing them early and playing multiple really makes your kid matchup way easier. They're really good into Kaido because they bail out board wipe a lot. And if you go tall into a Kaido deck, then they board wipe. If you go crazy wide post the board wipe, you'll win. And then you'll win as they just blew up all the resources to answer your big boys when the real threat was ducks all along. Quack! I can't. But yeah, no, they both serve the purpose. They really help your kid matchup, which is your worst matchup in Zoro. This deck is made to hurt kid. It beats kid semi-consistently, which when you're playing Zoro is really hard. I got 15 packs of Uta already. No, you didn't. You're lying. You're kidding. The community should be quackheads. Quack. That's really funny. I love the ducks. That's such a great thing. I love it's. Okay. After this, I gotta show you guys something cool. All right, next card. Radical Beam. Radical Beam again. Same. Very similar purpose when you're playing pretty much every other deck. Just a very big defense. This card is really helpful into the Kaido matchup too because they'll try to end the game off of like their leader swing or if their king swing after they dawn minus and everything like that. They'll go for game and then you just show them Radical Beam more like once or twice and it's game over. Radical Beam is helpful for defense. It really is good. It's really mostly I think for the Kaido matchup, but it does have a lot of applications into Kid as well because they'll go for game and you just you defend, and because you survive over that extra turn, you win the game. Radical Beam's your kid and Kaido match. Yep, it's going down the wire. If either deck goes for game, you live. They don't have the resources to live on. So the reason why Hawk, not Hawk and Beam, is that Hawk costs 2, Beam costs 1, and that's it. This deck is very Dawn heavy. Like you very much need the Dawn investment and all that stuff to get the return off your Radical Beams, get the return off of your ducks and all that stuff. You can't waste your Dawn. And also Red Hawk, I personally don't necessarily love. It's very situational. Like they have to have a blocker or a 4-drop card on board to even value a Hawk. And even then, if you're playing against Mirror Zoro and they're playing the 2-drop 4K version, they put 1 Dawn on their leader and all their cards are above Hawk kill range. I don't love Hawk. But Radical Beam is very, very good to help those matchups because you want to see it late game. You hold on to it until the end. Real talk chat, if we make Duck Tribal merch, will you buy it? Because I will. I would. We just make a mat. What's wrong with us? Why haven't we made a mat of ducks yet? Quack. Why no choppers? Okay, that's a really good question because I personally love Chopper. That's a really, really good chopper. That's a really good question. Chopper is because that when Matt was testing the deck with lands, they had choppers in and it would stay dead in their hand and they'd lose because it wasn't a counter to survive the last turn, and that's the only reason. It's just Chopper is good. If you want to put Chopper in your list, I personally recommend it. It's awesome. Good luck finding space, but it's because it will stay dead in your hand because you're doing other things and then you lose because you had Chopper on board, and that is the only reason. Chopper is just because you don't have the space realistically. Extremely answerable and way worse into your worst matchup. Green, it forces us to take early damage all the time. The other answers we are far more helpful in the current meta. Yeah, Chopper is good. It's too answerable. Like everything can kill it. And because you're investing that 1 Dawn, you're just kind of losing because of it. Granted, if you decide to run Choppers, be my guest. Chopper's great. Nothing against Chopper. Chopper would be better if there's an influx of Zoro, but I beat Mirror anyways. Yeah, Mirror's not that bad. Radical Beam is better than Chopper. I agree. Alright, Roundtable. So Roundtable is super, super good. Obviously, if you don't know what it does, you can, like I said before, you can give an opponent character -10 power during the turn. There's a lot of combos with this card. With Nico Robin, you can kill stuff with it. The reason why we run Roundtable is for the kid matchup. You automatically kill the opponent's kids super easily. It's really funny. And you can kill Kaidos. They can board wipe, swing with a 12K Kaido. You play Roundtable, and you're killing Kaidos. It's super easy. Roundtable, it just answers a lot of things. You can kill with the Robins, you kill blockers, like really big blockers like 7-drop Kid. And it has a lot of applications. This list has the space for it, and it's just a good card. It just helps the matchup. It's mainly for kid, but combo with Robin is the kill blocker is also common for me. Yeah, exactly. Max 100% gets it. It's mostly for kid, and you can and for Kaido, but mostly kid for against Aatrop, and you need to hit it against it. And then obviously the 4 pistol is just a staple. Pistol's just too good. You can Tama pistol kid. Pistol gets rid of queens, gets rid of blockers, it gets rid of their opponent's Luffy's if they need to, gets rid of 5-drop law. And Jet pistol is just one of the best cards in the game. And if you're playing Zoro, you almost always need 4 of. Ducks is better than raccoons. Ducks are the best. Okay, wait. Let me show you guys something. I got this thing a while ago. Hold on. Okay. So I was in Manhattan like a while ago. I live in Manhattan. I was going around the stores and stuff, just fucking around. And me and my girlfriend were looking at manga just cause, and looking for One Piece stuff. And there was a store that had like a million little figures and stuff. And if you dig around, you can find some really cool stuff. I had this Karoo figure because of it. If you can't see it, it's a little Karoo thing, and I've owned it for a really long time, and I love it so much. It's one of my prized possessions because I just happened to find it by accident, and I love Karoo. So I have this really cool Karoo figure. I thought that was cool. So what is Duck Tribal? Let's talk about Duck Tribal. Duck Tribal was a deck that me and Max made very, very early on in the set 1 early meta before cards really coming out, and we did all that stuff. We were doing all this testing. Before any tournaments happened, we were trying to make Zoro work the best way it could, and what we decided was we call it that because Rush focus on 1-drop 3k vanillas, and Karoo is a 1-drop 3k vanilla. So it was a Duck Tribal was one of our favorite decks that we made. It was a deck that ran every single 1-drop 3k in the game, like they ran Camacho, Karoo's, Sunny wasn't the thing yet, I think, at the time. And ran all of them, and they ran the size, it did the VBs, we ran every single vanilla ever. I'm sorry, every small cost vanilla ever, because you can rush down faster. And that deck was really, really fun and really good, and we called it Duck Tribal because it was based on having 4 Karoo, and every single 1-drop 3k is the same stat as Karoo, so it's called Duck Tribal. It's a deck that we coined the name of a really, really long time ago. And there's no better name than Duck Tribal. Like, look at this duck. Like, did you not see this duck? Look at them. You can't beat the duck. You can't beat the duck. It's Karoo. I love this figure. I might just steal it from you. Babe, I might steal this from you. She can't hear me. I got, like, me and AJ got it together, but we got, like, essentially for her. Yeah, duck. You can't beat the duck. I love this. But no, yeah, Sanji's great, but it's like, whatever. What are you doing? I'm scared to look. Quacking 10 hours. You're such a clown. Stop. Why are you such a clown? Quack. The Mighty Ducks. We are just the Mighty Ducks. That's actually my favorite hockey team of all time. Also, that's a phenomenal movie. I make fun of that movie all the time. It's my favorite. It's one of my favorite movies. Quack. 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 Nah, for sure. I just love it. So, Max, what are you thinking? Do you want to do your all on Quack? Do you want to end the stream there, or do you want to maybe play a game? It's your call. I'll let you decide since you can't talk. Or you want to maybe show another deck list? We can do that. Guys, if you're interested in looking at more deck lists. I'd be less inclined to end if I could speak. This is the plan. We're going to show some more deck lists that you guys should definitely look into for set 1, and then we'll end the stream. Does that sound good? Does that sound good to you, Max? Unless my computer decides to I love to chat some deck lists. Yeah. How easy will it be to add the promos to a build, seeing as you only can get them through participation events? Fairly easy. If you all go to participation events, you get like you only need to go to a couple, like even 2, you have access to it. But you can always just buy the singles, and they'll be pretty in mass circulation. I wouldn't worry about it too much, personally. Yeah, and they're weekly events. Like you every single locals event that are weekly, you go in for getting the promo. You just get them. You get the promo. So you shouldn't be that worried about it as long as you just go to your locals in December. Like you should be fine. I honestly, I kind of recommend even if you don't have a set 1 deck, just go to the tournament anyways. Yeah, you won't win, but you get promos. I might just do it too. Like honestly, it's just not worth it. The singles will be cheap because everyone will get there and probably have loads to spare. At least get 2 Uta promos. Gotta go to 4 locals and get 4 ups. Yeah, I mean it's not that a big deal. You just gotta go to 4 locals and you're there, and then you can sell the rest. Like, not even hard. So let's look at some deck lists. Max, gotta go to what list you want to see? Yes. Thank you for the poll. Let's vote on it. What deck list would you guys want to see? We have Kaido, Kid, Dofi, Croc, and Odin. We'll just vote for whatever list that you're most interested in seeing, and we'll talk about that next. Because we do have lists for every single one. Pretty sure. Granted, I think 90% of them. No, I think all of them. I think Max, you're gonna have to share your screen because I don't think I have them saved. Kaido, I think I might, but it's gonna take me a while to find. You might have to share your screen for it. For sure. I like Luffy. We can do that. Okay. Yeah. So we got Kaido and Dofi tied. So I guess we're doing both then. Max, you're just gonna have to share your screen. Show me. I don't know. Show me Doflamingo, I guess. Okay. Well, there goes that. Share your screen. Share your screen. Bastard. Let's wait on you, Max. I think he might just be getting the list ready for you guys to look at, because then it's sharing? Oh, is it my fault? It is my fault. That's my fault, guys. Okay, so we have Dofi set 1 we're going to look at first. Oh, he's going to make it on this. He knows it by heart. If you look at our video, it literally is almost exactly what it you would already see it. But we're going to start with 4. Do you want to make it the list and then I'll talk about it? That might just be easier. Make it first and then I'll. Why is there? Oh yeah. Man, your list is so weird. But it's so correct. Wait, no. Why are you running 4 of the blocker? Don't you run 4 Dofi blocker? Are you lost your mind? There you go. Was gonna say. It's like, are you bad? It's like, oh yeah, 3 lots, right? I remember that you like whatever, it's not a big deal. Who cares? Not for Dofi, you're an idiot. It's like ending stream because Max is he's lost it. The dreaded Moria, who I hate with a passion. I do remember you love that card. What too much quack does to a man? Yep. You only ran 3 teach. That can't be right. I thought, wasn't that 4 teach? Or am I insane? I think you ran 4. You're 3. You might be right. I don't remember. I'm never gonna go against Max's word on Dofi. I used to run 2 Teach, 3 Moria, then Western Meta. I reversed those. Yeah, 100%. I agree. It's too important in a lot of matchups. We'll talk. We'll get through it, guys. We'll talk about it. You got the Mihawks. You got the Dofis. Did you get Virgo? There you go. Yep. He's already on it. Love Beam. Yep, the last card. Okay, let's talk about this list. So, obviously, leader. If you have 2 Dawn attached, yeah, he saved it. 2 Dawn attached. When you attack with the leader, pay 1. You can get a 7 Warlords from the. If you have a 7 Warlords on the top of your deck, you reveal the top of your deck. If it's 7 Warlords that cost 4 or less, then you play on the field rested. That's it. It's a phenomenal effect. Playing things for free is just stupid. Blue needs way better mid-range. Dofi is the mid-range. Not enough available SRs. Okay, but then we need more Warlords with on plays. I don't know what you're talking about. What are you doing? Warlords. Don't show the spice! No, the spice! The spice melange! Alright, this is a set 2 list. I don't know why Max is showing this, but this is a set 2 list that topped. I was praying for a Warlord that would lower character cost for blue. That'd be stupid. This is a list that is literally, you don't care about looking at top 5 leader effects. You're just, you don't care about Perona. You don't care about that. You're literally just putting 2 on your leader, swinging, and you pay 1, and you will never hit not whiff. You will hit in a card off the top of your deck every time without even searching. Like, you just go and do it every time. Not our idea. It's a great idea, though. I wish I thought of it. It's so smart. I've done, like, no testing with it, but that's a funny list from set 2. For comparatively, I mean, Queso, it topped. So, it topped, though. That's how we know it exists. So, anyways, let's talk about this, our set 1 deck. I mean, when you saw this list the first time, I was like, oh, it's bad. And I was like, but you don't whiff. That's what you got, because I didn't know that. I didn't know that was the point, Samuel. I didn't know the point was, oh, you just don't ever whiff, not whiff. I'm not even saying it's good. I just think it's hilarious. It's spicy. Yeah, exactly. It's spicy. All right, so talking about set 1 Dofi, let's move on. Perona at 4, it's one of the best cards in your deck, best turn 1 ever. You look at top 5, rearrange them. You can leave them all on top, or you can put them all on bottom. You can't put like 2 on top, 3 bottom. It's not the same thing. Doflamingo is the exact same thing, but it's a blocker, and you can play it off your leader effect. Perona, you can't play off your leader effect. That card you can. But Perona is phenomenal. I think you need F4 of. It's too consistent. You hit it turn 1, you're the god of the new world. 4, Gecko Moria. It's like the best target, honestly. One of the best targets to play on the top of your deck. When you play it, you can grab a 7 Warlords from your trash back to your hand. I think it has a cost requirement. Don't quote me. Cost 4 or less. Yep. So, and it cannot be Gecko Moria. But it also grabs through the Bark Pirates. So you can get your Perona back from your Gecko Moria. But yes, Moria can grab Perona. 3 Law, so it's just a 1-drop blocker. You can play it off top of your list, whatever, who cares. But it's just a 1-drop blocker, essentially, whatever it does, that you can play off effect. You also can grab the Law from the Gecko Moria, which gets you a blocker back, and that's just phenomenal play. If you guys play limited battles, I'm sure you know that play like the back of your hand. But yeah, pretty good. Can't argue with progress. What else? Let's see. Don't want to say I don't believe you, but I do want to know where I can even pull up topping data. Oh, I get my information from you know what? Wait. Max, give me 1 second. Give me just 1 second. Here. I'm gonna make your guys' life a little easier. For those who are watching, this one. If you follow me on Anthony's Twitter, quack. If you go to my Twitter and you follow my Twitter is really, I'll toot my own horn. I'm really, really good at getting deck lists and stuff because I get my deck lists off of Twitter. So if right now we're in set 2 meta, so I just post nothing but deck lists. My Twitter is essentially just a database of topping deck lists. I just repost topping deck lists all the time. That's all I ever do. I also post the really significant ones that I like 30 plus people on Facebook. If you go to the Facebook groups, I also post about those. But if you follow that Twitter, you will get deck lists like up the wazoo. So definitely give that one a check out. I'll toot my own horn. It's a really good resource for getting deck lists. because I'm doing the work for you. If you go on Twitter, you will find the deck list, but I'm already doing it for you. Just follow my Twitter, and there you go. All right, moving on. Max hovered Alvita. Let's talk about Alvita. Alvita is a 2K counter. Okay, keep going. You will never use that effect. It's just a 2K counter. You can use the effect. It does happen, I guess, but it was just never will. Boa Hancock is one of the best cards in this deck. It is a 4-cost 7 Warlords blocker. Dawn ×1. When attacking or blocking, you draw 1 if you have 5 or less in your hand. Very easy threshold. He's my librarian of One Piece. I have at least 10 new topic deck lists on my feed every day, thanks to me. I get so many lists, I sometimes get annoyed by the amount of notifications. Yeah, sorry, Samuel. I mean, I do it a lot. I retweet. I also retweet other people's, like if there's another YouTuber who I respect or wherever I see them post on Twitter, I sometimes try to show them some love by retweeting their stuff. So it's not always just deck lists, but 9 times 10 is deck lists. But yeah, Boa Hancock, sorry. It's a blocker. You can grab it back off Moria. You can play it early. Your opponent has to answer it. This card just does it all. The card is phenomenal. Draw power. Yeah, it gives you draw power where this deck has none. This card's just stupid. Yes, Gecko Moria gets your cards back, but it just gets you faster through the deck. You filter. Using Gecko Moria effect, you also can grab your 2K Mihawk. Mihawk is a 2K counter, and you can play it off your leader effect. It is a 4-cost Warlord, and Dawn ×1 when attacking, draw 2, trash 2. That's pretty good, but it's mostly there for the 2K counter. That can you also get it back from Gecko Moria. The value from that alone is just insane. If you played Limited Battles, you know about this. You've experienced it, but now you can do it off leader effect just by existing. Kuma is a 4-cost 5-drop or 5K blocker. On KO, you play a Pacifista. So we are playing 3 Pacifista in order to play it for free off of the Kuma. Kuma also can be played off of your leader effect, and that's just stupid. It's a blocker. You block with it, play a 6K, and you're God. You also set up your 6Ks. You have a way better time into 8-drop Kid because all you need is 2 Dawn onto those Pacifistas. You can keep swinging into them. Having bigger body vanillas on board is just going to get you there, and it's phenomenal. It's a really, really good effect. Kuma Pacifista specifically for the Kaido matchup makes an opponent's hardcore removal deck slightly worse. Also true, yeah. Kuma also, if they kill the Kuma, you can play a Pacifista. It makes Kaido 8 times worse. If they go for board wipe, they kill your Kumas, whatever. Here's 3 Pacifistas. You know what I mean? Like, it just does all the answers. 100% correct. Teach. Teach is a 3 of. I really love this card. It is a 4-cost Warlord on play, return character cost 3 or less. Really good for tempo. You can bounce their Robins, you can bounce their Okikus, you can bounce their blockers. This card just does it all. What's really, really cool about this list, or in Doflamingo specifically, is if you're using your leader's effect to play a 7 Warlords from the top of your deck and it is Teach, you play the card first and then you activate the Teach effect. So you can play this card off of the leader effect and then bounce a blocker before the attack connects, so they no longer have a blocker to block that leader swing. It's so good. That is just broken by itself. Where'd you get this list from? Oh, Max made this a long time ago. It's difficult to remove because if they have Pacifista in hand, fakes out opponents. I'm pretty confident Desespada is better than Alvita. That's where you're wrong, my guy. Desespada is crazy good. It is good, just not better than Alvita. Its Dom requirement is a pain in the ass, and nah. Max, you got it. You got it. I'm not even gonna explain myself. Desespada, I actually personally like a lot, but I think it's just not necessary at all.
What? Why did that like that? What the hell?
Max. Oh, I can hear your audio. I can hear it.
You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Are you serious? Like normally? Like it's okay?
No, I can just hear. It's not great, but I hear you.
It's probably through the camera.
It's probably through the camera. Yeah, I think I hear you through camera.
See, how bad is it though? Because I'd almost rather not.
You'd rather just not talk.
I mean, how ugly is it? Last time they said it was like I was trapped.
Wait, hold on. I might be hearing you through also Discord.
You're hearing me through Discord, not through
No, but I hear you double echo. Hold on. Let me
Here,
mute.
is it still doubled? 'Cause
Oh,
I muted
whoa,
myself.
that's way better. What'd you do?
Okay, hold on. Mute me in Discord.
Go ahead.
How is it now?
I still hear double echo.
Okay, how's that?
No, that's perfect.
This is perfect right now.
Yes, that is perfection. That sounds amazing.
Okay, we're going for it. Okay, Desert Spot is unnecessary. Changing the top of your deck, but only doing the top 3 is really mediocre. It only
Yes.
affects you for like literally a single turn. That one extra turn is not that good. I hate leaving one Dawn up for Desert Spada. And more importantly, this list of Dofi is built to not rely on the leader effect. That's why we're running 3 Virgo and 2 Doflamingo and 2 Mihawk. Because if your deck is too reliant off your leader effect, that's when you lose to 8-drop Kid.
Yep.
I'm back. Quack.
Yep.
What are we text for streams and content in general? Will there be a shift in focus on more English meta and release, or staying on top of Japanese? It'll be a healthy mix of both, with a primary focus on the English.
Yeah, it's always primary English. We always talk about OPO1, and that really draws a lot of people in, especially for our viewers. You're all English players, and you want to hear.
Yeah,
from
English.
whoever.
We do get Japanese viewers. What I would like to do at some point is set up a dedicated day for the Japanese meta. I'm just not sure when that is.
Yeah,
7-drop
Japanese
Croc
meta's
I found
fun,
really strong too. I hate 7-drop.
7-drop Croc is trash.
Banish is a really fun keyword, but it's not better than just strictly bouncing a card.
It's bad. Don't get baited.
You have 8 things that do it better. Only 3
Ocean!
cards, 1 open.
Ocean,
Hey, Ocean,
what's
it's been
up?
a while.
It's been a long minute, dude.
Okay,
Glad
so
to
wait,
see
where
you.
were we? We were talking about Teach,
Then
and
you moved
now
to
we're talking about
Moria.
Gecko Moria. This
Yep.
is a 4-drop 5k vanilla. I'm not even joking.
I hate
this
this
is a
card.
beater.
I hate.
I hate it too. It's literally just that I like the having this many warlords. As a matter of fact, with the rise of Zoro and Law, this may even become 1 to 4 of this.
That's what I
wouldn't
would
be that
do
surprised.
personally.
But I do like my number of warlords, which is why I run 1 Moria.
Ocean, I love this new arc in the manga. I
There
agree.
also is an argument, and I'm gonna literally
a great
vomit
arc.
as I say this, for running 1 of this card instead of Moria, because having the occasional blocker might be more helpful than having the occasional double attacker, but I'm not sure yet.
It's an argument that you'll lose. It's terrible. Captain Taco,
I
can't
don't
wait for
know.
chat tomorrow. I can't wait.
Tomorrow we'll be live reacting to the chapter. This new arc in the manga is amazing.
I can't. This arc is sweet.
That brings us to the top end. The reason I run so many Virgos is because Virgo is my favorite card in blue. But real talk, the purpose of this much top end is it's how you deal with Kid. The way I play this deck is hopefully I turn 1 Perona, and then I turn 2 leader effect. And then from there, I did not stack my deck to leader effect every turn. Usually I stack my deck for the highest value when I go Virgo into Doflamingo into Mihawk, right? My early turns, I'm only leader effecting once, and then I'm busting out top end, unless I'm playing into Kaido. Then I'm trying to use leader effect as often as possible so that after they board wipe, I can follow up with my top end.
Yep. Tetra, that Gecko is to bait people into thinking it does nothing past being a vanilla.
It happens. I mean, I've
It
hit with
does.
double attack before and won because of it. Like,
I think was that me?
I mean, I've done it to you, but I've done it to other people as well.
Yeah. Well, I remember early Zoro when it was really shitty.
Yeah.
You more like the first time, our very first match, I think, of you playing Dofi, I was playing Zoro, and I was like, I'm gonna clown this kid, and then I got destroyed because Moria was an annoying card that I had to deal with. But that was also why Zoro was just so
Yeah,
bad back
that's
then.
why. Anyway, no, I'm kidding.
Ah!
And 3 Love Beam, because Love Beam, I've said it before, I'll say it again, is the best counter in the game.
Mhm.
So good. They realized Moria was just a vanilla, so they fixed it in OPO2. Yeah, they literally just gave us the Moria we all wanted in the first place.
Yeah,
I
that,
cannot wait for this.
that
card
Moria
to
is
be out.
nuts.
I wish it was out now so badly.
So bad. I think that could actually be.
That's
better than how it
Doflamingo.
is. Yeah, Doflamingo's sweet. I really love this list. I've seen Max play this list. I know some of you have also played Max play this list to
In general, how
moderate
many counters are
success.
recommended? I know
That's
it
like
depends per deck, but ballpark. As a general rule of thumb, I like 8 to 12 2K counters.
Yep.
And I like to run, usually, I would say 8 to 12 cards without counter stats.
Captain Taco, if Moria double attacks somebody when they have 1 card in their life pile, they lose, correct? No.
No.
No, that's not how that works, unfortunately.
The only way to lose is to take a direct hit while at 0 life. Double attack only means they take 2 life. It does not mean you win if they're at 1.
Yeah. That card would
Which
be
is
way better if
thankful.
it was.
Oh yeah, this would be a 4-up.
yeah,
Real
yeah,
talk.
absolutely. No, for sure.
All right, Kaido.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
That I actually already have built.
Good. Yep.
I like have a love-hate relationship with this list.
I have a love-hate relationship with Kaido in general.
Okay, so first of all, here's how I play Kaido. as many blockers and 2K counters as is humanly possible. I mean, really, that's the big kicker
That's
for
it.
me. You'll notice that I am running a beautiful mass of 15 2K counters and a beautiful mass of 12 blockers. There's how you play Kaido.
Okay, moving
8
on.
to 12 2K counters. And I like to run 8 to 12 cards without counter stats. And to me, the rest of your deck should be 1K counters or events with counter stats.
Yep.
So that's the easier math to me than to give you a number of how many 1Ks is to tell you how many counterless cards I would run. I cut it completely for the 3 Mihawk, but I also have a different approach to the deck. How do you find yourself with 7-drop Dofi? I don't like it at all. Oh, okay, real quick on Doflamingo. I love it. This card is so good. It bounces 7-drop Kid, and then you have a 7K body. It bounces King, which is actually more useful than you would think. It's just here's the thing. Yeah, it's nowhere near as good as Mihawk. It's on curve though. Like the Dream curve, it's important to have a turn 4 power play.
Yeah, it's when you're doing is if you're playing your big bodies on curve, specifically against Kid, you're winning because literally you have these huge bodies that they literally can't get rid of. That you're controlling the board, building up your tempo, and if they go 8-drop Kid, it's like haha, you lose because here's my like 100.
Yeah, if you're playing a big body after they play 8-drop Kid, you're losing.
Yeah,
if you have big bodies before they play 8-drop Kid, you're winning. And that's why I like to have 2 Doflamingo. I would respect cutting the 2 Doflamingo for just a 4th Virgo and a 3rd Mihawk, but I've really found success with Dofi.
I've actually seen like 90% of lists actually run 3 Doflamingo and 3 Mihawk when they're playing Dofi.
Yeah, but they often don't play Virgo.
But then they don't play Virgo. Exactly.
Yeah.
So you're more consistently hit that top end, but you're just not doing Virgo, which is
I'm a big Virgo fan.
I personally love Virgo.
I usually found Dofi plus leader effect is better than Mihawk. I mean, it depends on if your stack is set up. And a 9K body is better than a 7K body. I think that Mihawk and Doflamingo are honest to God equally good in different situations. That's all it comes down to.
100%. A million %. It really depends on the matchup. And the situation, 100%.
So, okay, let's talk about the big things about my list. You need to run 3 board wipe, period. You don't want to run 4. You cannot run less than 3. So let's just get that out of the way. I used to run only 1 King and 3 9-drop Kaido. King is really good in the law, and that's why I now run 2. I like the curve reasoning. Yeah, the curve reasoning is really big. The way I've been approaching the deck is just use all the gas, and when you're not stacked anymore, drop the big guys. That's not a bad way to run the deck. I like playing that way into Kaido. I don't like playing that way into Kid. And that's why I have that curve reasoning, because that's why I'm not auto losing to Kid as Doflamingo, is I'm focusing on the curve as much as I'm focusing on my leader effect.
It's also the same thing for you guys if you're at home playing Crocodile. Crocodile, it's very oriented towards curve. If you play towards the curve, you have a way better chance of just winning overall. If you're
really big deal. Curve is.
It's huge deal.
Surely you have more experience with the deck. I haven't played it in a long time, to be fair, but I did test the ever-living shit out of it.
He did do a lot of that.
The big thing I don't like about Dofi right now, the reason I'm not playing it, is I don't like its law matchup. That's what's stopping me from maining it, is the law matchup is really hell. Same with Crocodile. I would be a blue main if law didn't exist.
I agree. I think I'm in the same boat. I would main blue if it didn't exist.
But 2 7-drop King I think is important these days because of how much law is running around. 9-drop Kaido and 7-drop King are both helpful into law and Zoro, but 7-drop King is way more helpful because it's not setting you back quite as far. You are still progressing your Dawn because of Oni. Yeah, that's really wonderful. Was the same for DLB. Yeah. Same thing with Thunder Bagua. I almost never ramp with this card. Anthony, when he plays the deck, he doesn't like playing Thunder Bagua unless it's ramping him. I have the exact opposite reaction, where Thunder Bagua is a 2-drop 4K counter to me and almost nothing else.
Oh, I really like ramping.
I mean, ramping is great, but it's not like Love Beam where if I don't ramp, I cry myself if I don't.
No,
if I don't draw.
I've been doing Bagua a lot earlier. Lately,
I just Bagua whenever it's convenient. Sincerely.
I only really Bagua before ramping if I really need to. Captain Tacos, thank you for subscribing.
Thank you for the sub, my friend.
You've
upped our Dank Souls goal. Soon it will be the return of the Shanks Dark Souls 1 run. I don't even know where I am in that because I was so fucked up the last time I played. And that's like that fun fact. That's high key like one of my favorite things to stream is just get really messed up and play my favorite video game. It's a really good time. Anyway, back into One Piece land. You obviously need to run 4 King. You obviously need to run 4 Queen. You obviously need to run 4 Oni. You obviously need to run 4 Blast Breath. I think the big takeaway for me here is a card that I really want in the deck is, let's see if my computer won't lag, is Fukurokuju. And instead, I'm running a combination of A, Brachio Bomber, and B, 1 Sasuke, 1 7-drop King. You can cut either one of your top end and 1 Sasuke, or your 2 Brachio Bomber for Fukurokuju. The reason I like Brachio Bomber more than Fukurokuju right now is the big argument for Fukurokuju is it's good into the mirror and it's good into green. Well, one, you don't really struggle into green. Like, you don't really need to be teching cards because of green. And two, Brachio Bomber is also really good into the mirror because if they play King or Fukurokuju, you play this and you're closer to your 9-drop and 10-drop than they are. And I think it's really important in to have guaranteed removal on turn 3 into the fast decks. And Brachio Bomber, if you are going first and your turn 3 is Brachio Bomber, your turn 4 can be board wipe, and that's really important to me.
Yep, that extra ramp is super important in a lot of matchups.
Dank Souls, I prefer Dank Whitey Bay Garp. Bro, I will get so high and play your deck and lose miserably. It'll happen. Are there any questions about this Kaido list? I know it was selected. I just don't really feel like I have that much to talk about with Kaido.
Kaido's
The big things are the number of Kings and Kaidos and the Brachio Bombers. Like those instead of Fukurokuju. Those are really the only techs. Why not 2-cost ulti? Oh, that's really important.
Yes.
Backup ramp.
Yes.
Because I'm not a bitch. I'm not even joking. That's why I don't run. Everyone and their mother is like, let's run backup ramp. And I'm like, let's win without Oni anyway. That's actually, I don't have a great, like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I don't have a better answer for you. First of all, if you're going to run backup ramp, run Jack instead of 2-drop ulti. Because 9 games out of 10, you won't need the backup ramp. And in those 9 games, Jack is better because it has a counter stat. And then 1 game out of 10, you need backup ramp. And in that 1 game, ulti is better in the sense that you're not discarding a card. But Jack is better in the sense that you have a 4K body, which is actually really relevant. So just run Jack. Or Hawkins. I don't mind Hawkins.
Hawkins,
but
I like Hawkins.
Honest to God, I don't like backup ramp. I find that most games I don't need it.
Yeah.
And if you are talented enough with Kaido, you don't need the backup ramp. Feels almost like a crutch to me, where it's like I need to see Oni to win. And don't get me wrong, not seeing Oni greatly decreases your chances of winning, but it's not the end all be all. And the tournament that I went undefeated with a Kaido list, and it was almost this Kaido list. The big differences was this King was a Kaido, and these Sasakis and one of these Black Marias was for Uta from the starter deck. Just play a better deck and play better forehead. I mean, fair. Those are the only differences. I went undefeated that matchup, and it was in that tournament. I lost 1 game in the whole tournament. Best of 3. I lost a single game, and it was to Kid. And I dead drew like crazy, and I hit Oni, so it wasn't an Oni thing. But in that matchup, there were 2 separate games where I played against Kaido players, competent Kaido players, and they saw Oni and I didn't, and I won anyway. So really, the big thing I would suggest is cut the backup ramp now. Start practicing without it now, and I promise you'll find greater success overall.
So was
there just one Dank Souls playthrough, or we have not finished the playthrough? I've streamed it 3 times. Sometimes it's Dank Souls, sometimes it's Drunk Souls. The first time I did it was Drunk Souls, and I like literally died and passed out on my bathroom floor. So it will be Drunk Souls again. But I did do that. I did pass out on my bathroom floor.
Speaking to the Kaido list for sure, and Jack, I was very much in the ballpark with you guys. It's like, oh, Jack is really, really good, and you need it. And then I played.
You guys mentioned the Kurazumi.
Then Max was like, "Hey, here's the reason why you don't do it." And then I was playtesting without it, and it's just like, yeah.
Like I used to do it too. Like, I don't blame any of you guys. I was there not long ago. And then I realized that it's just not the way.
It's just it isn't the way. The best Kaido player, player will not need Oni.
Yeah, would not need it. That's a fact. Ray Rams, I did mention the Kurozumi blocker combo is not good. This is not that combo. Orochi, this is a blocker, and you run blockers. And Orochi is not the card that makes Higurashi immortal. It's Semimaru that does. Yeah. Orochi has basically no effect. You can ignore it, other than it's a 2K counter.
Now, the other thing, too, I'll mention about Orochi, again, this doesn't happen very often, almost ever. I think I've never done this combo, but I've seen this combo be done, and I actually stand by it. It's a phenomenal combo. So, if you're the turn 1 player and you don't have Oni in your hand, you can play the Orochi if you're playing against the Kaido mirror match, because if you play the Orochi turn 1, you search your deck, you know what cards in your life, whatever, big whoop, who gives like, that's not a big deal. But your turn 2, if you still don't have Oni, you can put 3 Dawn onto the Orochi, swing for 5k, and then swing with your 5k leader, and that
two
is
5k
huge.
swings on
Are
turn
huge.
2
It's huge.
is really good into a Kaido mirror, and their leader is probably swinging into that Orochi, or
Yeah.
or they king it away, in which case fine, whatever, right? But it actually is helpful. Another big thing is I like playing Orochi into green turn 1 so that their Bonnies can't run rampant with me.
Yes.
And why for Orochi and not for Sasuke?
Sasuke sucks.
Because backup ramp sucks.
Sas-
And Sasuke is like
honestly,
the worst backup ramp there is.
Yeah.
Every time I played Sasuke, I've regretted it. If it gets removed, you're down a 2k counter. Discarding a card for your backup ramp on swing isn't great. Like, you have to commit a Dawn to the Sasuke, and then it enters rested, so it's not actually speeding your deck up at all. It is slowing it down.
Literally, in my opinion, the only reason you play Sasuke ever, like this is literally ever,
4k body
it's no,
to
oh
go
no,
for game.
I meant play it in your deck. I'm not even talking about
Oh.
play it. You
okay.
never play it. You never play
I've
it.
played it if I need a body.
If you
to
need
win
a
next
body,
turn,
that's
but
fine.
that's
Yeah.
so rare.
That's rare. I've never had to do that. The only reason is because 2k counter. That's it. That's it.
Less as rampant, more like a body. Biggest problem is you discard one. That is a
Yeah.
huge problem. If it didn't discard, I'd love
If you
it.
didn't have discard one, discard would be good.
The one drop 2k body. Sometimes you have to spawn a body, right?
Yeah, sometimes.
But you have so many better bodies than Sasuke.
Yep.
And Orochi has more use as a Bonnie. I'll get back to ulti in a second, Purple Hair Across. Orochi has more use as a body than Sasuke because of, one, if you whiff Oni into a Kaido mirror, playing Orochi on turn 1 is not bad. And 2, if you're playing into green, or Law, playing Orochi right off the rip is not bad to help tame Bonnie Momo. I played it on curve. I played it to curve 10 drop Kaido one turn earlier. Pretty niche. I mean, if you have some really specific line of play where it's like my hand is dog unless I ramp one more time, sure, go for it. But
Yeah,
really
I was playing against my brother because I was
you
telling him to
can
Jack.
also use Orochi to shuffle the deck, but more importantly, you can use Orochi, look through your deck, fail to find, and learn what your triggers are.
Yeah, you just find your triggers are. Granted, triggers aren't that big a deal in Kaido. Like, they're almost irrelevant.
No, but, you know, let's say you have no Oni and you're playing the Orochi. If you see Brachio Bomb or Thunder Bagua in life, take the life.
But honestly, too, if you see that you have, you count your 10 drops, and you notice you have one 10 drop in deck, you'd be more likely to be able to be like, oh, I can take a life because he comes to 10 drop. Like, that happens.
One time I accidentally wombo comboed Sasuke, doing leader effect and 9-drop Kaido in one turn. Oh my god. So yeah, if you play 9-drop, Dawn -5, kill a card, Onigashima, swing with Sasuke with your 1 active Dawn, ramp 1, you can then leader effect. Sure, I think that's hilarious.
That's cool, I guess.
Any ruling on how long you can look through your deck? There is not a specific ruling, just don't be an asshole.
Just don't be an asshole.
My rule of thumb is I don't like to check what cards are in my life. I check for specific cards I need to check. I check for my triggers, I check for my board wipe, I check for my blast breath, and then I'm just done looking.
I personally also look at queens, personally, or like, because queen, I think
Who needs queen?
It's not that if it's like, oh, I need queen, but it's like, oh, if I know draw in queen, I know is in life. It's like,
I don't see. Eventually, there is a borderline slow play option. So if you can do it fast enough, go for it. But
yeah, if you can go fast and memorize it, you can search anything. You can search your entire deck and you're like, I memorize all of it. That's the ideal. But that's
Purple
not
Hair
happen.
Across. I do want to get back to you. You said just joined. Did we talk about ulti? I assume you're talking about the ulti that ramps one. And I actually just went on this whole huge spiel that everyone's now going to hear for a second time about how I don't run backup ramp in Kaido, and I feel it's completely unnecessary. And here's why. First of all, if you're running backup ramp, run Jack instead of ulti. Eventually, you'll just know by quickly looking through your deck. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. The good one. The good one. Fair. I mean, I run this one. 2k counter. But anyway.
We are running the good one. What do you mean?
Yeah. So the reason I say Jack instead of ulti is because 9 games out of 10, you don't need the backup ramp, and the 1k counter matters way more, especially in a deck full of all this top end dead shit. Like, that's Kaido's big problem, is all of this dead shit, right?
Yep.
Excuse me. Sorry. And the 1 game out of 10 where you do need the Jack for the backup ramp, the Jack or the ulti, discarding a card is actually kind of a small price to pay very often for having a 4k body, and having a 4k body comes up a lot in a lot of matches. A 4k body can swing into Robin. a 4K body can swing into Ducks, or if you're playing into the lesser Zoro, the 2-drop 4K. Yeah, X-Drake is an amazing
X-Drake's
2K
the
counter.
best
2K counter in this color.
Easily.
But the reason that I don't run, why does the unlimited blocker combo not work? Okay, I will go back to that Ray Rams. I did forget about that. Sorry.
Yeah.
But anyway, backup ramp is just kind of unnecessary because it's kind of a crutch. Like the better you get with Kaido, the less you need backup ramp, and the sooner you cut it, the better you'll be with Kaido. Because the real skill as a Kaido player comes from not hitting Oni and winning anyway.
Yep.
And the deck where the time I went undefeated in a set 1 tournament with Kaido, it was a best of 3 tournament back before we knew best of 1 tournaments were the wave. So back before we knew best of 1 was like the wave. And in all, I was 4 rounds, best of 3. I lost a single game all day. I lost it against the kid, and I saw Oni and just didn't see my top end. So it had nothing to do with whipping Oni. In that tournament, I did not see Onigashima into a fellow Kaido player. And these are competent Kaido players. These are people I know. They're not just random shitters, right?
Yeah.
Into competent Kaido players, there were 2 separate games where I did not see Onigashima. And I won anyway, just through outplay and skill. Just because I knew what I really had great mastery of that deck. So it's really comes down to backup ramp feels so good until you cut it. And the more you play without it, the better it feels. And it's also one of the reasons that I like Brachio instead of Fukurokuju is because it is backup ramp, right? Like it's not completely irrelevant, you know, it's worth mentioning. It's interesting how bad the purple 2K are compared to some other colors, but you have to run them because of the top end dead, and it's still a busted deck even with so many bad cards. Yeah, it's literally just more defense for this deck.
Just
because being able to play turn 1 is a major difference and it's way cheaper. Then again, the 4K bodies of Sasuke is the same argument with Orochi, right? Being able to play turn 1 is way better. You need both cards for it to work, otherwise you're wasting. Oh, okay. So hopefully that answered why I feel you don't need backup ring. Let's move on to the Immortal Blocker combo, why it's bad. I want it to be good so badly. There are 2 reasons it's bad. Number 1, it's not searchable, and that's the primary one. Yep. If there was a Nami type of effect that could get, like if there is ever a green purple deck, you'll see me getting it off Momo. I'll do it immediately. Literally the day a green purple leader is revealed, I'm gonna call Anthony and go, "Infinite blocker, it's time!" And he's gonna fucking scream at me because he hates my guts.
I hate your guts. I do.
But at the moment, there's no way to search it, and Semimaru is a dead card unless you have the Higurashi, and Kaido can't afford more shit dead cards, right? No purple deck can. So that's reason number 1. Reason number 2 is 2-drop 3Ks, I swear to God, are the easiest cards to remove in the fucking game.
Ooh, Seraph Chaz subscribed. Hell yeah.
Thank you for the sub, Chaz.
I miss you.
I'm at work now, popping in to say hello. Can't wait for you guys to box this final time. I know,
it
Chaz.
Really
I'm so excited.
I'm so there. I'm
thank
so
you, my
excited.
friend.
Thank you.
Even with its 1K counter, because that 1K counter slot could be a 2K counter slot, which you need way more than the 1K counter. Because the only thing you could cut from this list is like Sasuke/ulti, right? 2K counters for the infinite blockers. And you're going to end up being less defensive because of it most of the time. It's not entirely dead. No, it's not like 9-drop Kaido where you see 3 of it and you're crying, right? It does have a 1K counter. But it's just the format is so rife with removal. Green will just tap down your blockers or Semimaru and make you hate life. Yep. Red will just Robin your Semimaru and they're back to being normal blockers and you wasted 2 Donna and a card out of your Purple will do purple things really easily. Like it's just every deck in the game answers. Blue bottom decks them with Jinbei.
Yep.
Like or with Doflamingo or not Doflamingo.
Or even worse, they'll bottom like Jinbei will just bottom the blocker, so they're getting rid of a blocker and that card's on
and then you have a dead card on board.
It's just doing nothing. It's just literally it's so bad. It's so bad.
Yeah, so really, honestly, and it's not even terrible. Here's the thing. We keep shitting on it. It actually was like somewhat useful. Like there were games where I was living for like turns and laughing in this man's face, like, you can't get over my blocker. And it felt great. And then he'd usually win anyway because I was running a bunch of trash. Like it's
yeah, it is.
So that's why it's not that effective. There are so many better things that it could be than the infinite blocker combo. Until green purple, when you can search them.
After this healthy discussion, I decided to play 3 Sasuke and 3 Orochi and 1 of Semi-Maru for the spice.
Honest to God, I support it.
I actually low-key think that's great.
because here's another thing. The secret advantage of 1K counters in Kaido, this is the secret advantage, is people swing at you with 5K instead of 6K all the time
Yep.
because they think it's the same thing. And if you have 1K counters to counter out of that, they're like, fuck, man. And Semi-Maru fills that slot. Now, it's still not better than running a 2K counter, but it's very entertaining.
Also, if you can have more than
Play
one
Bao Huang for the
Higurashi,
memes. Bao Huang is a funny meme.
if you do, yeah, that's funny. If you do have more than one Higurashi on board and you play the Semi-Maru, they all become infinite, right? So that's kind of
Yes, that's what happened in our games. Would be he was like playing Zoro, and I would like never let his get over the fucking blockers, and I'd have 2 Higurashi, and I'd be like, and I'd laugh, and he'd be like, I don't even know, and I'm like, I've got 2. You can't swing twice a turn, bitch. You fucking suck, and it's just not worth it.
Nah,
I've been there. I've lived the life. I've tried.
It doesn't do anything.
And it's fine. Honest to God, if you're hell bent on it, I'll support you because it's not terrible. Like, it's not the worst thing in the world. It's not like you play this and I think that you're trash.
No,
I just think that this is better.
I think that when you're playing it, I'll make fun of you because it's hilarious. But but I don't act like low key. I don't think it's that bad. And honestly, when you're playing Kaido, if you can do things that are off the beaten path, like things that people aren't expecting.
That's a big thing, yeah.
Yeah, that's so huge. Like, especially for our OPO1 format, if you're doing something that no one else is doing, then you're winning because no one will see it coming and they don't know what's happening and they lose automatically.
That's why you play Duck Tribal.
That's why you play with Kiku and Hawkins. That's why in your law list.
Oh, if people don't see Hawkins coming, they're trash. The moment I see any deck with the color green, I'm like, Hawkins.
I know the future. Hawkins is here.
Yeah. If only Semi-Maru was 4K. Oh, yeah, you're right. If only it was busted as fuck. Like, yeah, I'm with you.
It's only
if only it was the stats of a vanilla with the effects. I'm there, bro. Like,
if only it costed pay 1 Dom times 1, you win the game. Like, if only a 2K counter.
That's actually the real answer.
Is
I wish it was a 2-drop 3K with a 2K counter, and then it would be so cool.
It actually
Except then something else would have to not be a 2K counter, so just make Orochi a 1K, and I don't feel like make Sasuke a 1K. Just
make Sasuke trash, and it's already trash.
That's why you play Garb specifically with Wayume. I mean, can a man dream? A man can dream.
You can dream.
All right. So we got 2 more things. Number 1, it was requested that we look at this Luffy list, so I'm gonna drag it over.
What Luffy list? Oh, just talk about their list.
This was someone sent in. I'm forgetting who it was to me over Discord.
Got it.
It was Samuel. I hope you're still here, Samuel.
Yeah,
Samuel. I imagine you are.
Yeah, so,
you're still here.
So
this is your Luffy list that you asked that we talk about.
That's me. Yeah. So for sure, again, they'll just preface that we didn't make this, but man, I actually, we'll jump into it. I like this list. This is kind of sweet.
Okay, so I like your list. Number 1, I think 1-drop Nami is very underrated. I recently cut it, but it is straight gas. I cut it for a 2K counter. I'm sorry that I betrayed you, but I do support running it because it is really powerful. Wish Rush Sanji had a 2K counter or a 1K counter.
Yeah, that'd make it way better.
I'm kind of happy that rush cards don't have 1K count and don't have any counters. I think that's pretty.
I think it's fair.
Yeah.
They do some really broken stuff for existing.
Yeah, if Semi-Maru made himself also unkillable, then it would be also much more useful because you'd get a. But right now, it's just a card that sits on board.
Yeah,
that you can't swing with.
Yep, nothing you can do about it.
Literally ever.
Okay, so another thing. So talking back to what Max was saying about the Nami, I really, really love this Nami starter deck card when you're running the promo Luffy specifically, and you're running a 2-of
and Sanji.
And and Sanji, yeah. When you're running, I honestly think I would run even more of this promo Luffy because you're running the 4 Nami, but that's just me. But because you're playing that Nami, you're able to play your Sanjis and your Luffys for like their cost, like 2 and 6, and then activate leader effect and Nami and just swing them immediately, and that's just good. You can never convince me that's bad. Like, that's so good.
The weird thing I find about your list is you're choosing to run less of some really important beaters for Sabati. And I'm kind of okay with it because consistency is cool. Here's the one thing
Ooh.
I'll say: cut 1/1 drop Nami
For Robin.
for fourth Robin.
Yeah, you need
cut
a fourth
one
Robin.
starter deck Nami for a fourth Robin.
Yes.
Robin is the most important deck.
Yeah, no, you
Sincerely, I'm not
need
even
you
joking.
need Robin at 4. That's where you lose me. Nami is really sweet, and honestly, you can even cut your Nami to 2 and find other slots for other stuff. You have so much, like even for the 4th pistol, for example.
Yeah.
You like Nami is a phenomenal card.
For OPO1 run
But
Shanks, he's just too
it's
good
so
not to
unnecessary
include, so
unless
let's
you have a
over
bunch
here
of
play up
promo
real quick.
Luffy, and even then, it's like I don't care. Like
Shanks is also really fire. I actually don't run him in my current Luffy iteration, but I have played 4 of him in most of my different Luffys, and it's really good. So
Oh,
I
yeah,
would
yeah.
support you running or not running Shanks. I had a feeling you'd say that as soon as you
100%.
opened. I forgot I only ran 3. Yeah, only running
Yep.
3 is big.
Yep.
I think a big thing for me is I'd really like to see 1 or even 2 roundtable in this list because because you don't run Shanks.
Yes.
So your
yes.
list struggles to get over 8-drop Kid more than most lists because you don't have that giant body, and you only run 2 6-drop Luffy. So you're already like struggling with 8-drop Kid, and
Yes.
Roundtable is just a really helpful card in general. So I'd really love to see you get 1 or 2 of it in here.
Yeah, I agree. I think also you have the
Outside
space
of those things, I like your list a lot.
I agree too. And you definitely have the space for it too because you have the Sabri at 4. You could even cut one
Sabri doesn't need to be at 4.
Yeah, you don't.
Starter
you
deck
don't.
Nami doesn't need to be at 4.
Yep.
I'd really like to see, these are the big things I'd like to see. I'd like to see Robin to 4. I'd
Yep.
like to see Pistol to 4. I'd like to see Roundtable to 1 or 2. The cards I do not want you to cut are 2K counters, 1-drop Nami that is Searcher Nami, any of your rush pieces, and that's it.
Yep. Yeah. I maybe cut.
Roundtable is kind of a silver bullet, but I
Kinda.
also maybe cut in 2 years to 2. You absolutely can. But honestly, I use Roundtable into almost every matchup in the game, especially in conjunction with Robin. Like into law decks or law or kid decks, I use Roundtable on like 5 drops and then swing with Robin, and it's Jet Pistol all of a sudden. Like,
Yeah.
Roundtable is just a really useful card.
Roundtable is phenomenal. My personal thing is I like it as a one of, but I respect it as a
I
two of.
run it at 2.
Yeah, I respect
I run it at 2 in almost every red list I play these days.
Yeah, I respect the hell out of 2. I respect it.
Because I play 2 of it like every game. If I see 2, the argument for running at 1 is, oh, you never want to see 2. And I don't like that argument because I love seeing 2. Because I use it literally all the time. I'm like, oh, Roundtable that king, Nami, swing into it.
Yep.
Like constantly. It's too good.
It is too good. I
So
agree.
that's my input. I like your list though.
This is sweet.
And now the only other thing I think before we hop off is someone asked for a kid list.
Yeah, let's talk about your specific kid list, Max, because it is off the beaten path.
You're now officially getting free Patreon content.
Feel privilege. You swine.
This is the wild. This kid list is so. You never want to see it 3 times? I might want to see it 3 times.
We're talking
Do I
about
run it at, should I up to 4?
what card?
Do I want to see it 4 times? No, actually, in all seriousness, let's answer your question real instead of memery. I used to run it at 3, and I found that there were times that seeing it at 3 was too much, and that's when I cut it to 2.
Oh yeah, Roundtable just gets dead sometimes. It's unfortunate. That's why I don't love it at 2. Or I like it at 1. I like it. I respect it at 2. That's why I don't love it at 2. So yeah, this kid list.
I don't even know where to begin.
Me neither, honestly.
I talk about this kid list all the time.
Here,
Okay,
start,
I know where to begin.
We start with the Bonnie Momos, right? Just staples.
You run 4 Bonnie and you run 4 Momo because you're not stupid.
Yep, there we go. Okay, next.
Bonnie and Momo are incredibly important.
Yep.
You run 4 Beige and you run 4 Killer because blockers are incredibly.
Okay.
One big
next.
card is missing here. Go ahead, Tetra. Tell me what the card is.
Yeah,
Do it.
He's gonna say 7 drop.
Do it.
He's gonna say 7
Do
drop.
it.
I know.
Go
7
ahead,
drop.
Tetra. Tell me what card is
Here it
missing,
is.
Tetra.
Here we go.
Tell me.
Tell
Inform me.
Go ahead.
You know who
just
you
tell
sound
him.
like? You sound like Anthony.
Yeah,
3 days ago,
I said the same
before I
thing.
enlightened him.
I know.
1-drop Beppo. Oh no, he got. He's right.
Duck!
I'm
He
not
got
running
you!
the
Oh yeah, you did. No,
duck.
no, you're
I'm not
bad.
running the duck.
You're bad, dude. You're bad.
Do I need to?
You're
That's
bad.
so funny. He totally he baited the shit out of me. That was beautiful, Tetra.
You cut H-Up Kid.
Um,
4 by post. Yeah, there's no ducks. You got him good. You got me going pretty good too. Cause that's one of the things I say.
There's
7 drop
Beppo
is so
and
good.
Otsuru. Oh my god, I can put in. And Otsuru is searchable. I'd put in Otsuru before Beppo because
It's searchable. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm just gonna cut Okiku real. No.
Okay. No more memes.
Okay. In all seriousness, yeah, memeing is over. The blockers are really important. Don't be afraid to not draw off killer if you need to. Always try to draw off killer, but I see people make really. We will get to why not 7-drop.
There's a
kid,
reason.
Ray Rams. I
God
did get
damn it.
memed on. Because it's actually not bad. It's not like I'm shitting on 7-drop kid. It's a great card. I love 7-drop, but I don't run it, and there are reasons. You're also running 3-4-drop Beppo, not even fitting the Beppo theme. So the blockers are really important. Ezo is a searchable. Oh, Cat Viper. Cat Viper is really important into your Law and Zoro matchups. Like
Yep.
tapping down those things so you can swing into them, and then having a body on board to swing into those biddies is really important. Ezo is the same thing, except it's also a 2K counter, and it's a 2K counter that you can search for off of Momo, which is really important.
And you can tap down Utas coming into when the Shadow comes out.
Yes. And I run 4 Apu because it's a searchable 2K counter.
Yep.
For Okiku is really good into almost matchup. Matchup I'm not big on Okiku into is Kaido. And it's still somewhat okay in a Kaido. And you play this list so fucking differently when you're playing in a Kaido, and we'll get into that at the end. So that's why.
You do.
3 Beppo because I don't like running events to run counter stats. I want 2K counters.
Just
So
existing.
I run 2K counters.
That was another thing. Is I personally really like Paradise Waterfall.
And I personally am very in.
Yeah, every single time.
Every single time. Paradise.
Yep.
The reason I don't run Paradise Waterfall is because I only run 5-drop Law and no 7-drop Kid.
Yeah,
so there
it's
aren't
useless.
as many
Yep.
good untapped targets.
I personally think if you're running 7-drop, then you definitely run Paradise. But because he's not running 7-drop,
for
then,
sure.
then you just
Honestly, even if you're running more 5-drop Law,
yeah.
Paradise Waterfall. But
Yeah.
the main use of Paradise Waterfall, yeah, you can untap your card.
Max, are you you guys getting him cut off? And
am I cutting in and out?
For me, you are, but I can't tell
It's
if
because you're hearing me over Discord.
Yeah, I can't tell if it's because if you guys
No,
are
it's
also
probably
getting cut
them
out.
too.
It might just be
He
he
is
is cutting
cutting
off
off
sometimes.
sometimes.
Okay.
I'll try and talk slower.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know why my normal mic isn't working. It's really infuriating.
I don't think it's your mic. I think it's your Discord. But that's
No,
just me.
it's definitely my mic. No, but it is my Discord in Streamlabs.
You cut off real bad there.
Yeah, whatever. Paradise Waterfall is kind of insane when the trigger hits, but the other main effect is really not so useful. It is with 7-drop Kid, but guess who's not used? That's exactly it. If you're using 7-drop and 5-drop, it's incredibly useful, and it's minorly useful outside of that. Like every once in a while, you protect a Hawkins.
Yeah, but my thing is with Paradise Waterfall is it's less about getting the blocker with whatever. Yes, that's amazing and kind of the main reason, like a big reason you run it.
That's the main reason.
But
that's the reason.
Whoops.
Only useful to protect your ducks.
But hold on, my second. There you go. But I really like it against Mirror because they'll swing your Kikus and tap these things down, or they'll swing whatever, and you just protect it, and then you just win because they couldn't kill it. And
that's how my issue is that is very situational, and I'd rather a 2K counter.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think in this list, Paradise Waterfall isn't the way, but
Yeah.
I love Paradise
even
Waterfall.
if you run more Law, I'm here for my. Let's talk about one Law, by the way. Number 1, I don't run Raizo, and my bounce targets aren't as good. I'm not the craziest fan of bouncing Momos and Bonnies. Bouncing into Okiku is nice, but you don't really need it. And realistically, the best way to abuse Momo and Bonnie is to hide them behind Kid, not to bounce them with Law. It's just more efficient. And Hawkins is a way better card than Law in the meta. You don't need a blocker as much as you need to fuck up Law and Zoro. That's really what it comes down to.
No, yeah, the thing with Hawkins and Okiku, 100,000,000%, guys, if you don't do this, you're just clowns. You need to run at 4 because
in Kid,
specifically Kid,
to do with
because
Law.
it's too good against Mirror and Law. And if let's talk about Mirror for a second. If you're playing 4 Okiku and 4 Basil Hawkins, and your opponent isn't, you auto win the matchup.
If you are hitting Okikus and Hawkins, you're doing very well for you.
Yeah. If you're hitting the Okikus and Hawkins,
Hawkins is so good to Mirror. Hawkins is one of my stage up.
You keep getting cutting out, bro. I can't understand what you're saying.
Hawkins is one of my main answers to 8-drop Kid.
Yeah, I agree.
To be fair, I don't know why you have Law here with no killer. Only thing is Cat Viper, but it doesn't feel as good.
Honestly, you could cut the Law, to be honest.
No, this is gonna sound really weird. Every time I see
what?
Every time I see Law, I'm very happy to see it.
Yeah.
The reason you run 1 Law is because I hate seeing 2. I don't need to see it, and the moment I see 2, I'm sad. And that's why I run 1.
Yeah.
And I'm not a big
fair.
1 of guy. You could cut the law, but it does come in handy when I see it, and it is 1 more, honestly, and 13 blockers is a really good number for 8-drop kid. So
Also,
if you
being able
wanted to
play
cut the 1
Okiku
law,
is
you
nuts.
fucking can.
Dude,
But
turning your Momo and buying to Okiku is insane. Like, that's so stupid.
also playing an Ezo and then bouncing it into
into anything else
to get back your K counter.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Like, Law still has good bounce targets. It's just not good enough to justify more than 1. That's the thing.
Yeah, I mean,
When you're running killers and Rhizos and stuff like that, running it at 2+ makes a lot of sense. For me, I want to use it once all game, and that's it.
I feel like our lists
and it has no
lately
counter stat.
have become so wonky and weird now. We just play
Our lists in general, or
in general. They're so
I mean, my
wonky.
Kaido list is very straightforward.
No, your Kaido list is straightforward. Everything else. Oh, and Dovi's
My
kind of straightforward.
Zoro and Kid are my lists that are weird. Everything else.
Yeah,
makes
my
sense.
Lawless has got.
But that's because they're my mains.
Yeah, 100%.
Zoro and Kid are my 2 mains,
Yep.
so they're the decks that I personalize the most because I have the most experience in playtest.
Yep, Law's my main.
Okay, but why not 7-drop Kid? All right, we're just gonna skip ahead for a moment to why not 7 card. Because
Yeah,
Ray Rams is very curious.
It's the elephant. It's the elephant in the room.
Let me ask you, Ray Rams. This is how I always explain why I don't run 7-drop Kid. What decks is 7-drop Kid good into? Tell me. And anyone in chat can answer. What matchups are you running 7-drop Kid for?
I know the answer.
Go ahead, and anyone can answer. It's fine.
Oh, okay, lovely. It's really good into Mirror, and it's really good into Kaido.
Okay, and right there, he's made mistake number 1. Only Kaido. It's good into Mirror as well, right? But he's made mistake number 1. He said really good into Kaido. That was mistake number 1. It is.
I always said it because
okay.
We've had this conversation.
Best.
We've had this
It's
conversation.
okay at best into Kaido. It's fine into Kaido. It's just as board wipeable as 8-drop Kid. Blue? God no. You waste a turn playing 7-drop Kid, and it gets bounced or bottom decked.
No, it's bad into Blue.
LOL, I kid. Okay.
Okay.
Cool. I'm so good at getting baited. Like, fucking give me a little word.
He's the master baiter.
I like it for being a good card. It is just a good card. I don't blame you for that. Here's the thing. The way that I play into Kaido would suggest that you're not playing cards, but instead just using leader effect really often. Because if you play cards against Kaido, then they win. Because what happens is I play Hawkins for 5, and they play Brachio Bomber, and they ramped, and I wasted a turn. When instead, I can put 2 on my leader, swing twice discarding the Hawkins, and I'll still lose the Hawkins, and I'll get more aggression out. And they will not ramp.
Yeah, it's really good,
and the same thing with Okiku, right? I could play Okiku, right? Or I could leader effect, get an extra attack off, discard Okiku, and they don't have a king target. Yeah. And that's how I play into Kaido. And 7-drop Kid, the big argument is it baits board wipe, and board wipe's the only thing that kills it. Baiting board wipe isn't that good with this deck. Like, if you bait board wipe with 7-drop and a few cards on board, and then you play 8-drop, they have a 12k body to swing into it, right? Like, all it takes is a Who's Who or a King or a Brachio to kill the blocker you played, and you're backpedaling from there. You're forever backpedaling because they played a 12k body, and you had to reset for a turn because of it. Meanwhile, counter argument, if you get them to 2 or 1 life, because every turn you're pounding their face, you can play 8-drop Kid and say, board wipe me, I dare you. If you do, I'll go all in on leader. And that's how you beat Kaido. So 7-drop Kid, I don't like it into Kaido. That's reason number 1. I hate it into Zoro and Law. Into Zoro and Law, it is too slow. It does not defend you enough from the initial turn, and either A, Law decks are control, and they run Hawkins to deal with it anyway, or B, Law decks are really fast, and you can't go that slow. And into Zoro, you just can't go that slow in general, and it's answerable in both decks with Tama Pistol and / or Roundtable. And it's like, yes, if they're blowing their answers, then they're not blowing their answers for 8-drop Kid, but they're only blowing their answers if they can also answer 8-drop Kid. So I don't like how slow it is in those matchups. And then we have the elephant in the room, into Mirror. 7-drop Kid is really good into Mirror. And you know what I run instead? Straw Sword. this is my 7-drop kid slot. This slot could be 7-drop kid. But in the mirror match, what happens is my opponent plays 7-drop kid for 7 Dawn. And in response, I use 2 Dawn and then put 3 on Hawkins or 1 on Hawkins or whatever and kill their 7-drop kid. And they wasted a turn and resources and tempo for me to just go, no, I don't care. And Straw Sword is so good in a mirror. And that's what I said to Anthony. And the night when I proved this list's viability, I played into a mirror match and they dropped 7-drop kid and I straw sorted down 7-drop kid with Hawkins on board. The next turn, immediately, I was like, look, it's happening. And he DC'd.
Yep.
So
Yep. See,
this card is better into mirror.
God.
It's and 7-drop is bad into your red matchups, and this card is also awesome into Kaido. Fun fact, because it's your only way to tap down Queen, and that's how I win a lot. And that's why I don't run 7-drop kid. I just have better options. That's the truth of the matter. If you run 7-drop kid, fine. It's an I win hard card. If you're neutral and / or ahead and you play them and you can keep them and start to build board, you snowball into victory. I don't like playing in snowball fashions because it's if you get disrupted, you can fall really far behind. And I don't running that many cards without counter stats in kid.
Yeah.
Even though you can leader effect, it's like your hand gets flooded with 7-drop kids and Hawkins and Okikus and Laws because you're running like at least 2 of each of those cards and 8 drops. And you're kind of sad, and I don't like that.
Yep.
So that's why I do not run 7 cards.
See,
Now.
I was like you guys.
Right.
I was like, what is this crazy nonsense? Like, where's 7-drop? Why is there no paradise? What? I knew the straw sword. The straw sword you didn't have to convince me. And then I was like, how do you play this? Because this is so weird. I took the list and I tried it out myself, and I was like, man, I just don't like this.
He
And
hated
then
it.
I hated it. I 100% did. And I was like, and then Max talking to me. I was like, oh, it's so good. I'm like, all right, show me. You have to show me because I don't get it. And then he showed me, and I was like, oh, all right, never mind. I was like, I take back everything.
I swear to God, I have like an 80% win rate with it. Like I win almost every time I play into anything except Law, and I'm relatively even.
Yeah,
and Law
laws
decks are
laws
built
make
to
me
kill
think
kid.
so. Yeah.
So the fact that
law
I'm
is the
going
thing.
even with my worst matchup overall, like maybe 45-55. The fact that I'm going even with my worst matchup and then beating everything else as a general rule of thumb, that's all I have to say about it. Like it's just its record speaks for itself. And I'm playing against
able to
common
play 7 cost and 8 cost kid. Wouldn't the opponent not be able to get past the kids? Not argument. Just trying to understand.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's exactly what I was trying to say when I was saying it's a snowball method. It's like if you can build the dream board of like Hawkins into 7 cost into 8 cost kid, right?
Yep.
Like if you get there, yes, they can't get. Well, one, they board wipe, right? Into Kaido, they don't care.
You just lose because they board.
But let's assume you're not playing into Kaido. You win. You literally just win off that play, right? If you play 7 and it lives, and you play 8 and it lives for a single turn, and you've got cards in hand, yes, you're winning. What I tend to find is in the act of protecting those cards, you belittle your resources to nothing. They just end up getting answered anyway. And if you are not literally dominating with 7-drop kid, I hate it, right?
Yep.
Because 7-drop kid is it's an I win hard card. It's the card that when you're winning, it means you cannot claw victory away from me. I'm going to win.
Yep.
And then the rest of the time it sucks.
Still in the deck well, really, but I feel like, as we were saying, that 7 cost kid is just the powerful card that wins you games when you're not supposed to. I get that. I get though that you like planning out your matchups better and following your plan schemes, especially with 8 deck with 8 searchers. My thing is, my thing is, I still respect the hell out of 7 cost, and I know Max does too.
Me too.
Yeah,
for sure. Like this kid list is not the end all be all.
Yes,
kid list. One of the most. I should really be saying that first. One of the most beautiful things about Kid is that it is the most, even more than Law, I swear to God, the most personizable deck there is in the meta. Like legitimately.
Yep.
You figure out your play style, and then you build to match that, and you will have more success than just mimicking me. I am only explaining to you how I like to play Kid and the play style that works best for me based on my experience with the matchups.
I think, and I think
a
that
better
speaks
toolbox.
to every,
yeah, it's very toolbox.
I think it's a very I think it speaks very much to every single deck in the game. Like every single deck in this game, if you can personalize it
Except
to
Kaido.
yourself and you make it your own, even you can take inspiration from other people. That's totally fine. But if you take a deck and you make it your own, you're just gonna have a better deck for you. And these decks reflect what we really like, and they are not the end all be all. They're technically not even the most meta, competitive version of the deck. Technically,
if you're listening right now and you're like, man, I've heard all his arguments, but I play Kid and I love 7-drop Kid and it wins me a ton of games, fine, run it. Literally.
Yeah.
I play
100%.
I play lists. I coach people. If you don't know, there's a link to my Discord in my bio, which I use to coach people. And one of the common questions I get is they're like, I want to play against Kid. And I go into my list and I say it's weird. And so I'm very frequently playing a list with 7-cost Kid in it, because that's what people want to play against for practice, right? Because that's what most people play. And that's still good. Like that's I still win with that. That's good. It's completely fine. I just feel as though, to me, I win harder with this. You've said this, but why not Paradise Falls? Paradise Falls truly flourishes when you have blockers that you can untap with it, and the blockers you untap with it are 7-drop Kid and 5-drop Law, and I run 1 5-drop Law and no 7-drop Kid. There are times where protecting your characters is helpful, but it's not as, if you're not running the big blockers, that card is not as useful. As a matter of fact, my first that's wrong. My first attempt at this Kid list when I was brewing this, because this is a complete Max Fay original, right? I did not get inspiration for this. This was, I've played a lot of Kid, I want a main Kid, and I started testing this. My first list ran 2 Paradise Waterfall and 1 Punk Gibson, and just slowly over time, I was like, I'm really not getting the value out of this card that I want to be, and I ended up cutting it.
Yep.
But let's move on then. X-Drake, this card is really good into all of your matchups that are not Kaido. It's you kill Robins or Okikus or Zoros in the green-red matchups, and that's half the meta right there. Into Kaido, it's pretty much dead. It's a 1k counter. And then you get a 6k body on board, which is not to be underestimated. But this card's also a 1k counter, so you can afford to be a little more toolboxy with it than usual. And I find my hardest matchup is Law, and this card, honest to God, dominates Law. Like it goes, oh, nice Okiku / Robin, boom, here's a 6k body you need to deal with for the rest of the game, and I killed one of your cards. It's the same argument as King in Kaido, except the card is worse, but it has a counter stat.
Yep.
Won me a game where I really should have lost. It's won me games too before. Like I've won because
Paradise Waterfall is like.
But
I mean, I can argue.
I can say the exact same thing about the fact that I run Beppo. The fact that I run Beppo has won me games.
The
fact that I run Punk
I can also argue like
games.
every trigger on the planet. It's like, oh yeah, the triggers. Like you can argue Hawk is better than like Radical Beam because it's like, oh yeah, the trigger is so good though. It's like, but like it's not though because I mean, you can make the argument, but you wouldn't even be half wrong because Hawk is just a preference at that point. But it's you're doing something different than, and at that point. I don't know. I think Hawk is meh.
Random question before launch. How many boxes do you think gives a good for deck building? Okay, this depends on the question you're asking. If you're just trying to build a collection, build a couple decks, you're willing to trade and sell the stuff you don't need, I'd say 4 boxes. If you're trying to build every single deck in the game, 6 to 12, and then buy the singles you miss, realistically, I'd say at minimum 8 if you're trying to like build every deck in the game.
That's how Chuckles. Thank you for joining the chat.
Punk Gibson's great.
Thank you for joining the chat and contributing for sure. Thank you for welcome to the chat.
But I usually in Bandai games, what I tell people for the average player is 4 boxes will get you enough commons and uncommons and rares to build what you want to build, and then a decent enough SR collection to have what you need, and then trade for the rest.
Yep.
Started running Beppo as well, and it's really something, even though I still run the Waterfalls. Yeah, even when I ran Waterfalls, I still Beppo. Like, I'm not saying they're mutually exclusive. Beppo is just really good. Thanks for the thorough answer. Of course, my friend.
Thanks for the good question.
I like to engage chat.
No, you did a really good question. I appreciate you.
What are your thoughts on Penguin and Shachi? You almost never have them both in hand. I actually kind of like them.
I like
if you're running. If you're trying to say, I need more blockers for my 8-drop Kid, and you're really leaning way into 8-drop Kid, I like them. Not even because they play each other, just because more blockers is nice.
I also like that the stat line. You see some topping lists.
No, Shachi, the stat line is really...
What?
On Shachi, the stat line is good. On Penguin,
Yeah.
it's a 3-drop 2K.
Yeah, Penguin 2, whatever.
But on Shachi, 3-drop 4K
Sachi
is a good stat line.
specifically, yeah, Sachi specifically, because it's a 4K,
Yeah, you
4K
see it in
blockers
Tucker
are statistically just way better because you can't get killed by Robins, and you can block Shanks and stuff. It
Yeah.
just those are you'll see some decks top with those
Samuel
not a lot,
would
but
love a Heart Pirate
it's just having that statistical blocker is just always better than none.
Yeah. I personally don't really rely on 8-drop Kid, and the
No.
big thing for Shachi in Penguin is you run them in decks where you're really playing I want to stall into 8-drop Kid, which is more common when you're playing the 7-drop version, where your goal is literally build a board that they cannot deal with. My goal is not build a board that they cannot deal with. My goal is be an unstoppable force that they cannot deal with.
Yeah,
And
this is
using
also, I
any
feel
tool
like,
at my disposal.
I feel like this deck is also, since it's like again we talked about, it's so off the beaten path. It's very weird, and it's also when you're playing it, it's not the same way as you're playing normal.
No,
Kid
It's got an
lists.
extremely different playstyle.
And I feel like that's also a point of order where it's like, why I personally think Kid is one of the hardest decks to master, because you can master it, play as much as you want, and then play a different version of it, or make slight changes, and the deck's 100% different. And I think it's really important. I know for a fact that 3 boxes get you 99% of all rares, commons, uncommons, blah, 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 and give you a really good basis for SRs if you're going to trade for 1 SR for SR. Yeah, no, for Tetra, I think,
so
yep, for sure.
If Tetra has, that sounds like he's open boxes. If he has good experience with 3 boxes,
Yeah,
3
and I
boxes
mean,
is
that's
not
why I
bad
also
for him.
said, I said it during the stream.
See,
at the beginning,
to
3
me, if
boxes
you're
seems right.
trading 1 for 1, like I'd rather have a little, and I think the average it's like a deep binder, and that's really where I feel like 4 boxes comes into play. But if trading isn't a thing to like, if you're really just bare minimum on a play, 3 boxes sounds fine.
Yep.
Can we talk about Conjuro? Is that a serious question? Can I honest to God ask you if that's a serious question?
Conjure
I'm
is
not trying to be
terrible.
rude. I'm actually just not sure if I'm getting memed on.
What do you usually want to balance and play with Law? I mean,
You want to bounce anything
um,
with an on play,
and then
so
play
your
Kiku,
Ezos and your Vipers
yeah.
and your for searching.
Yep.
And you want to play Momo and Bonnie so that you can reuse them, blockers so that you have defense, or Okiku.
Yep.
Like, what is that card even? Is it a mistranslation? Do you really get punished for being KO'd? You really get punished
Yeah.
for being KO'd. I don't know
Conjuro
where you
just
are in the
says-
anime or manga, so I don't want to necessarily spoil stuff. But spoiler alert, everyone, it's animated at this point. I'm sorry. Conjuro is a flavor card and a flavor card alone. The only reason it exists is for sometimes Bandai will make cards intentionally bad just because their flavor is really good. Another good example is this Luffy. Let's find this Luffy. This guy that cannot be KO'd when battling strike attribute leader characters. This effect is absolutely bananas bad, and it's just flavorful and fun.
Yeah, it's just they do that. It happens a lot.
Conjuro, bad artwork, but meta cards. See, now that I know trolling.
I think I have a lot with One Piece, but honestly, I like that. I like if your card, like in card games, they make cards literally bad all the time. I like it that the reason that they make it bad on purpose is flavor. Like that's
Yeah, it's way more
great.
fun.
I think it's
Who knows?
awesome.
Maybe it'll have a use someday. It
Yeah, you
KO's
never
a
know.
rusted cheap card, right? Like
You never know.
imagine Dark Worlds in Yu-Gi-Oh or something of the like, where like if you discard a card from your hand, cool stuff happens.
Yeah.
Which is super possible with black as a color. Like that would be the best way to. I think Conjuro is tier S worst cards in OPO1. Yes. There is no forget OPO1. There has not been a 1 card printed that is Conjuro. Them's the facts.
You know, I just realized
What?
our ship in the background isn't moving.
I said that like at the start of our stream and you didn't hear me, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna ignore it.
Oh, okay.
The best part of
Weird.
CCGs is when random garbage randomly. That is like actually my favorite thing in the world. That used to happen in Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
There was like this card that said you could kill a card on your board to play an insect from your deck that costs 3 or more. And so it's called Insect Imitation. And years later, there was an off-meta deck that focused on level 2 cards and level 2 beast cards. And an off-meta deck that focused on level 3 insect cards. And they were called Raccoons and Insectors, and the deck was called Coonsectors, which wasn't a great name, but hey, you know what? Called the deck Coons. I don't support it. and it ran. You could play Raccoon Insector with 4 of that card, where you were spamming out raccoons and then using them to search for your busted ass insect combos. And I mained that shit, and it was hilarious. I love in card games when like random shit becomes really viable because of.
I mean, that's also why in card games
Yeah,
where
foresight.
I personally like to collect everything because you never know when something gets good. You never know.
So
Especially
green,
in
black, and
modern
then
games.
Conjuro is game. I mean, maybe if black gets really good discarded effects and then there's green, black, then yeah, Conjuro
Yeah.
would be really sweet. Like it's possible. I can see it. Duck
You
Tribal vibe?
never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
It is Duck Tribal vibe.
It is a trouble
That's
vibe.
fact.
It's 100%. Okay.
I think that was all of the lists that were requested.
Yeah, I think that was all of them.
Probably call it here then.
Yeah, I'm tired.
We'll be streaming. Yeah, same. We'll be streaming again tomorrow, guys. We're gonna live react to the chapter, but before that, we'll get some games in. You can see some of these lists in action. I know you guys were really interested in both Law and Zoro, so maybe we'll start there. But we'll play any of the lists that we have on. I'll play anything.
Yeah,
I'll play
yeah.
user-submitted
I'll play
lists, like, it's
whatever.
fine.
Honestly, we can do players submitted battles.
No
and stuff too.
Ryzos. Ryzo was a really hard cut for me.
Yeah, he loves Ryzo.
I'm literally Ryzo Bonnie is the entire the popular is how Ryzo Bonnie is like the
He
best
gets getting cut up. What he's trying to say is that he made a video a long time ago saying that Ryzo Bonnie is one of the more popular videos and how good it is, and it's
Yeah.
really hard for him to cut it for that reason, and among other reasons that it's just a good card. And
Here's what it comes down to: when you're doing Ryzo Bonnie, you are forced. It so often feels forced, right? Like where you're forcing yourself to play weaker cards for card draw. And I just have found these days that I would rather have one less card in hand, but have the cards that I play be fucking godly. Like I'd rather be playing Okiku. I'd rather be playing Hawkins,
Yep.
even though card draw is so good. And that's very kind of specific to this list. Because I think in lists that run 7-drop Kid and focused on 8-drop Kid harder than my list, Ryzo is still great. Because protecting Bonnie Ryzo under an 8-drop Kid wins me the game all the time in those types of lists.
That's just phenomenal.
But that's just not the style of list that this is, and it makes me big sad.
Yep.
Great stream,
Tetra,
watching
thank
the
you
VOD too
for
big scouting. I like
Yeah.
the whole discussion and want to try many of the things y'all suggested. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for all the support,
thank
man.
you, Tetra. I mean,
I really
honestly, if you
appreciate
take anything from this at all, like obviously we're not the best players in the universe. Max will disagree because he's stubborn as hell. But I was waiting for you to say something.
I mean, I was gonna, but you immediately. I was
Yeah, you were really gonna
for
say
yourself
something.
queued up, and then you went and Max is gonna disagree. I was like, fuck.
Yeah, I do it.
Like, good stuff.
I don't think anyone can really say like, oh, I'm your big player. You might actually take my advice and whatever. But honestly, if
You
this is just
just
you
did.
thinking about other ideas you might be doing with your deck list, then this is
Yeah, it
that's
gives you
over.
a separate viewpoint and expansive knowledge, and from veteran players with a lot of experience.
And
Like you'll hear
countless
things that
hours.
you wouldn't have thought of.
Yeah,
and that's
for
the
sure.
thing. Because all we do is
Countless
play this
hours.
game. I'm gonna send y'all a Duck Tribal Law list that is probably really bad but really funny. If you want to have that, doesn't be on stream. Well, that-
I will take a look at
Yeah,
that.
I'll
Sounds
look at it. I'll
great.
gladly look at it. Max, when you find out of Ryzo before I knew set code for Romance Dawn. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
a great combo.
Ryzo's the combo's nuts. It really is.
Ryzo Bonnie, it's insane.
Thank you so much for
Thank
feedback
you
and
so much for
knowledge.
the
Always
feedback
good
and
to have
knowledge. It's always
streaming
good and
players. Yeah, no, thank you.
Thank
I
you.
mean, I also gotta say thank you guys for coming and joining and interacting with us. I'm sorry if you were in YouTube and we weren't interacting as much.
Yeah, I'm seeing now there was
There was a question. Yeah, I mean,
we're gonna need to figure out why Streamlabs is both
not
tabs.
showing us. Yeah, I mean, this is our first time doing the YouTube stream and
Yeah.
simultaneous Twitch stream. But we do appreciate you coming in and joining, guys. I really, really appreciate it.
hate y'all
Because
'cause it's
I also
5
see
a.m.
the
now.
numbers.
Fucking yikes.
I
dude.
see the numbers combined from both streams. I'm just sitting here like getting so high. I'm like, oh yeah, keep going up. It's 5 a.m. Ooh, yikes, Stretcher. But get your dog to fix your mic. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I'll get the Ducks to fix my
Thanks for streaming, guys. Today for OPO1 Friday and chapter. Yeah, I'm so
I'm
hyped.
wicked excited for chapter
Oh my
tomorrow.
god, new chapter tomorrow, and
So
this weekend
excited.
is OPO1 release. I'm so hyped. Damn, we seconds for
We are
real.
psychos. You're right.
Yeah, you guys
Bro,
are.
there are times that I stream until like 1 a.m. and then
Yep. Same. I just I just gotta say thank you guys for the support and coming in, and I just love doing this. Honestly, I know I say it all the time, but this is like my favorite thing to do, and you guys make it this fun. Like,
Yeah, we love our chat. We love our community.
I
Thank
love
you
it
so
so
much
much.
for us. Dawn of
I
the third
appreciate
day. Majority basketball. Let's get it.
I appreciate you guys so much. I love you all. I can't appreciate it enough. And I can't find the motivation to do like I love One Piece. I'll talk about One Piece no matter how I'm feeling or whatever, blah blah blah. But like you guys make me love doing it that much more. Like even though I thought it was impossible, like it's just so fun.
Thank you for saying quack to me, Samuel. So I'm gonna look into Duck Tribal merch for you guys.
Honestly,
and we're gonna
really
get a
want all
Karoo
of it.
emote on
I want
stream
a
so that
I
you
want a
guys can
crew
stop
mat
saying
so bad.
so that you guys can stop saying quack and start emoting quack.
Yeah, that's
So
a
I'm
really
gonna
good idea.
Get on those two things.
Yep, we should.
All right, I'm gonna hop off and I'll see you guys next time.
Yep. See you, Max. And now that he's gone, we can talk all the trash we want. Alright, anyways.
Oh, I'm still here in Discord.
No! Okay, he didn't hear me say that. Okay, cool. Are there plans for gameplay educational streams? Oh yeah, I mean my go-to in terms of educational gameplay is let me lower this. This seems really loud. Is tournament gameplay. Oh, we commentate on a lot of tournaments as much as we can and all that stuff. I want to say if I can see Dan put a report from Anthony. We know you love it. What? Oh, right from Twitter. Yeah, I saw the list, but how do you play those lists? Yeah, exactly. Like we'll do those more, and we play on stream all the time. So we are gonna end it up there, guys. Again, thank you for the support. I follow us, subscribe, do all that good stuff on YouTube. Also, subscribe in there if you're watching on there, or just subscribe on our channel. We will plan. I keep trying to get videos out, but I just get so tired from work. Ramirez, thank you for following. And Duff Tribal Breakdown, can't wait. Yeah, no, we'll definitely talk more about how you play these lists and stuff, and try to show and highlight that because these are different than the average play of what you ever. So it is a little bit harder. And thank you guys for coming in and joining our stream. Again, I can't speak how much I appreciate it. But yeah, we have plans for all that stuff, and we have a lot of things planned. But again, follow us. Go to my Twitter if you want to get spammed with topping One Piece lists that I'm sure you can't handle more of it, right? So like, I'm sorry. I try not to do so much, but I have to cover every single one. I don't have a choice. All right. But anyways, that's where we're going to end it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good rest of your day, night, all that good stuff.